Right. Oh, wow. Today, we are going to talk a number of things. If I'm really feeling it, I intend to try to go live for like 4 hours at least. I want to talk about the migrant crisis in Spain, the reasonings for why it happened. I want to talk about how pretty much it's a red flag for us as Americans, understanding why Trump was well in his right to do what he's doing as far as immigration is concerned. We really truly had an invasion here in America for 4 years with Biden as president. And it just really scares me how close we were with having Kamala to continue the policies of Biden. We would have been so overwhelmed with immigrants and illegals, up to our foreheads with illegals and migrants. But sometimes somebody that is kind of rough around the edges, like Trump, appearing to be in a lot of people's imagination that he is not for humankind and all this other type of talk, racist, and, all the go-to speaking points of the Democrats. We see how vulnerable the world really is at large and how a lot of people are looking to assist in the takeover of a country that is not really fortified. I don't know if y'all have heard about how the conditions of France is right now, and other countries of Europe have been saturated with a lot of migrants, and it's a very scary thing that can happen simply behind able-bodied men who are military aged that could saturate a community in a country in the blink of an eye, and all the different things that could occur behind having random men to just come over to your country and take over. All the different crimes, all the different statistics for a number of things I don't even have to name, but you guys can imagine what could happen with having too many people in one area. Could happen: garbage, disease, crime, looting, just a lot of things, gang related, drug related, all kinds of things could occur. And I really thank Trump for putting his neck out there to prohibit these type of occurrences that could always seem to happen. So today we're going to talk about what happened in Spain and why. And then we're going to migrate to talk about Haitians right now. Haitians, of course, have lost the TPS. They're in an uproar. They're not really talking about what they're planning on doing. They're just complaining primarily about Black Americans' reaction to them losing their TPS, which is kind of indifferent. And the fact that I just found out also that the King of Ghana, the Ashanti King of Ghana, is making his way to America around the 22nd or 24th of this month with his goal of trying to solicit people to give money towards supposedly building up Ghana as usual. They don't know how to do shit by themselves. They're always trying to volunteer Black Americans towards their plight. I'm so tired of them. But these people never want to help out Haitians. They never want to help out anyone that's struggling. All they care to do, in my opinion, is subjugate Black Americans. That is their dream. That is their focus. That is their what do you call it? Demented, demonic possession that they have within them. And we're going to get to that last, because if I talk about them first, I'm going to become unhinged and get a little bit too emotional, and I'll appear as being a crazy, unhinged woman, and I don't want to appear to be that way. But I'm so strong up about emotion with anger when I think about this king, and I think about the president of Ghana, and I think about Pan-Africans, and I think about Africans and all these other immigrants that are volunteering Black Americans to be subjugated under the thumb of Africans. We're going to talk about that. That's going to be the last discussion. Keep that in mind. That's coming up. So let's get now to the reasoning for why Spain was inundated with so many migrants that flooded the zone. If you've been hurt in a car accident, I believe yesterday or the day before yesterday. We're going to get to that, but first I want to tell y'all what happened with their Supreme Court ruling, which is the reasoning behind the invasion to begin with. It gave these people the idea from North Africa to invade Spain simply behind a ruling. So let me look that up real quick. Spain's ruling. And if you guys could, please hit the like button. It will not hurt you, I promise. I understand a lot of people is not really liking a lot of the stuff that I say, but it's truthful. I mean, isn't it cool that I'm at least being honest about everything that I speak on, and that these are my true feelings, and that I am not a puppet or confused by somebody else's ideology. I actually have my own mind as far as how I see things. Okay, this comes from CNN World. It said the Supreme Court ruling is at the center of the Spain's Ceuta migrant crisis. Okay, around 50,000 migrants, some say in upwards of 60,000 migrants. I have other readings that I've read. They have said at least 60. So 50 to 60,000 migrants crossed the Spain's North African exclave of Ceuta this week. A mass influx that overwhelmed local authorities. At least 57 people perished during these crossings, which prompted tighter border security measures across Europe. Spanish leaders said they were working to expel all those who had entered as quickly as possible, and said by Friday evening that most migrants had been returned to the neighboring Morocco. Many had returned voluntarily after failing to find food or shelter in Ceuta. However, the causes of the surge remain disputed. Spanish officials, including Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez, said human trafficking networks encouraged the crossings by misrepresenting a recent Supreme Court ruling on migrant returns. According to the explanation, the traffickers and migrants incorrectly assumed that the ruling meant anyone attempting to enter by sea could not be deported. However, the legal decision was extremely narrow. The Spanish Supreme Court ruling on June 29th, Spain's Supreme Court issued a ruling stating that authorities cannot summarily deport migrants who arrive by sea without due process. And because they did not cross the physical border infrastructure referenced in Spanish law, the decision covers migrants intercepted while swimming into the exclaves of Ceuta and Melilla, Melilla, however you pronounce that. Also on the North African coast, who have often been subject to immediate removal to Morocco without any formal proceedings. It just means you cannot push them back at sea because there's no crossing of a formal border. This head of migration policies and diversity at in strategies and an associate researcher at GRITIM, Pompeu Fabra University told CNN, the idea is to facilitate the work of the police, but it doesn't mean these people can stay in Ceuta. So they were dreaming of a master plan based off of their understanding or their perceived notion of understanding of the Supreme Court ruling. Now, it goes on to say that this required process could be very brief, allowing people to be deported within days. And it still means that you have entered irregularly, you can be sent back to Morocco because there is also an agreement with Morocco, she said. Spain and Morocco signed a bilateral readmission agreement in 1992 that requires Morocco, under certain conditions, to take back third country nationals who enter Spain irregularly via Moroccan territory. Okay. A professor of public European and international law at the University of Constance described the decision as very technical ruling. He said it distinguishes between migrants who climbed over the border barriers and those who reached Spanish territory by swimming around them. And it does not constitute a sweeping human rights judgment. The court even laid down a possible way the government might circumvent the ruling. He said, referring to judge's suggestion that Spain could install physical barriers in the water that would once again allow immediate returns. It's important to understand that the migration movements almost never have one single cause. The ruling might have been a trigger, but there were many other factors at play. Beyond the ruling, Spain's relatively strong economy, a recent regulation program for undocumented migrants already living in the country, favorable summer conditions at sea, and long-standing economic pressures on young people in Morocco and elsewhere in North Africa have been cited by experts as possible drivers for the influx. Okay, so there's a lot of craziness in why people would just take it upon themselves to assume that they would have some type of right, that they would be able to leverage certain laws to accommodate them in staying in someone else's land. But this is the understanding that many migrants unfortunately have when it comes to other people's sovereign country. They don't see it as being sovereign so long as loopholes or rulings or other things give them, in their mind, leverage to be able to maneuver around so that they can be able to stay in someone else's land. But they do not take the time to consider them being a burden. They do not consider about many other thousands of them coming also as being even a bigger burden. Those things don't cross their mind, because what they think about is how can they get over on a system that they don't fight for in their own home country. That's the point. They don't want to fight their government to enforce their government to adjust their constitution, their rules, their dealings, their whatever thing that they're doing that's being dismissive to the people of the country. They don't want to fight them. They think it's easier to just fight somebody else's government, somebody else's laws. That just goes to show you how um, crazy that these people think on. I'm so glad that I am not a person that would think to go to other people's country and bogart my way into someone else's homeland and demand that I get rights and privileges that I didn't fight for. That's wild to me. That's absolutely wild to me. But I'm going to go ahead and show y'all a video real quick, and then I'll get to reading some of you guys' comments just to kind of reiterate how it looks, because I think looking at it instead of hearing about it meets the eye as far as how severe it really was. It was alarming to see. And I was just like, oh my God, I cannot believe these people it just looked like it was coordinated. It looked like somebody sent these people to do this. It didn't look natural at all. So let me find the video that's going to really break it down to y'all. And again, they lost about 67 people that had got bum rushed or rampaged over when they got to through the water to the beach and whatnot. There, let me see where to go. Okay, yeah, I gotta show this. I mean, nobody was thinking about sharks. I would have been scared to death. Nobody was thinking about being drowned. Nobody was thinking about not being able to get water and food and shelter. Nobody was thinking about their safety. They just said, fuck it. We're going to just make a go for it based off of a ruling that happened at the end of July. And within days, these people came and did all of this right here. Can you imagine if you're chilling at the beach right now and all these occurrences and all these people are just coming up out of the water surrounding you? Can you imagine this? This is wild. That's a lot. And this guy has the nerve to say this is racism. What are you talking about? Let me go back up and read some of you guys' comments. Paul says, no picture. Oh, I showed something. What's up? Coconuts are real. Smacked a like for you all. Thank you for that. I appreciate you. And no, it's not racism. Speaking the truth, Ron Zombie, I'm sure that you're very tribalistic in your country of origin in Africa. I'm sure that you don't like other people from other places just bum rushing through your border. And if they would take over your government or take over your resources and your homeland from your kids and your wife or whoever that you are related to in your home country, you would not be talking about racism. You'd be talking about get the hell out of my country. It's very interesting how a lot of y'all are so fake and phony. The only thing that you care about is that you have opportunities that you did not build, that you did not earn, that you did not sacrifice for. You want everybody else's shit. And you want your stuff too. So basically, do as I say, not as I do. That's why I know you guys are raggedy over there in Africa. You cannot be trusted because a lot of y'all are just not full of wisdom, and you don't believe in what you talk on. You want everybody else to do what you want because you want to have an advantage over them. And we ain't doing that, buddy, over here. I would not want random people from other countries coming up over here to America and having their way. For what? So get out of here with that stupid racism talk. Yeah, I am finding peace. I will find peace if we can block and stop people like you and Ghana's president and their king from coming up over here trying to attach themselves to us against our will. That would be the peace in which I seek. Keep off this low-level political bullshit. Man, just as long as I'm not enslaved by you, okay? I'll run, zombie. Just as long as I'm not enslaved by Africans, okay? White folks are not enslaving us. They're managing us, perhaps sometimes not doing a good job in all respects, but better than most respects that are in other land masses that you live in, that your people are from. I'm pretty sure you're not even in your homeland. You're probably over here in America talking shit about what I'm saying right now and bringing up enslavement when your people was partakers of enslaving folks. That's the part that just be killing me. Y'all got a lot of nerve to be wagging your finger talking about the white people enslaved, but you guys sold folks for generations before the white man and put them in bondage. Y'all don't care nothing about the fact that you guys put people in bondage, but somehow we're supposed to overlook what you have done and what you guys continue to even do now, actually. Let's be clear. Modern day slavery is still going on over there in Africa and Libya, Ghana, and other areas of the world. So you cannot trick me and belittle me, bash me, and submit me into the thinking of being dumb for you. And we're not doing that. You said Trump has that African country name, a road after him, and he invaded Spain because they wouldn't attack Iran for him. Why are you blaming Trump for that? Obviously, I just read the reasoning for why those people took a chance and come into the land of Spain because of the ruling there in Spain that made it seem like they were going to be okay if they came through the waters. They would somehow be given due process before they were given the boot. And they were wrong in their assessment of what they heard or read. Okay, you said Trump sent those migrants to Spain over political bullshit to spread right-wing fascist fears of migration. No, he didn't. You're retarded. Trump didn't do no such thing. Trump warned Europe and other areas to get their shit together. In fact, I'm glad you said that because Trump did have something to say about the migrant crisis. He definitely had a cabinet meeting, I think, yesterday, and he did make mention about the migrant crisis. So let me have him speak in his own words. You can't put that on Trump. Trump warned these people to get on board of what he was doing or else, is what he said. I remember hearing him say that to the Europeans, like, y'all need to stop playing around with this situation or it's going to consume you. These people are not coming to do patty cake with y'all. They're coming to take over y'all shit. That's what Trump said, and he was right.
Yesterday, and I watched the catastrophe that took place. It looks like an invasion of a country by hundreds of thousands of people. And that same thing's going to happen to us if the Republicans don't get elected, except worse. Much bigger, much easier to get into, despite the fact that we have built thousands of miles of wall, which I said we were going to do, but we didn't have that, forget it. But we have the safest border in the world. If we're not in office, our country will be invaded at levels that made Spain look small time. And when I watched it, I said, I'm going to say it because I knew you were going to be at Camp David. And I said, that's going to be a talking point for the midterms, because when you look at what happened to Spain, they don't know what to do. And it's happening again today. They're coming in by the tens of thousands. They're just invading the country. Victory is going to do a fantastic job. He's only done it. His whole life has been about. And what that is weak law, bad management, but very liberal law. They passed a couple of laws, and people read. You know, people are smart. They read from other countries, and they swam that 3-mile swim or however they got in, but nobody's seen anything like it. That will look good compared to what's going to happen to the United States. The big important aspect of our future, with more being added each day, so it's a tremendous hit. Building it up fast, and we just have a great military. That's all there is to it. But we rebuilt it in my first term, and we're using it in my second term with Venezuela and other places, and Iran now. Iran is doing very poorly. Just in case you read incorrect stories, they're doing very, very poorly. They're having a hard time. They've been very dishonest. They've been very dishonorable to deal with. But that makes no difference. They're doing very, very poorly. We're also looking at the timeline. I wish we had an economy like we have now with the stock. And we've had tremendous success, and our military was just proud of it. Again, Venezuela was a one-day war. And we have a great relationship with Venezuela. We're partners with Venezuela now, taking out tens of millions of barrels of oil and going to Houston, going to Alaska, going to Louisiana, going to different places for refineries.
Again, despite how Africans would love to pit us against white folks of America, they're managing. They have managerial skills way better than Africans. I'm sorry to break the news to y'all. Nobody wants to be under you guys' dominion and leadership or control. Most certainly not Black Americans. We do not want to be under your dominion or control. You guys have not shown yourself as good stewards for your own people. You have not shown leadership qualities in fixing common sense stuff that should have been fixed for decades ago, like the drainage systems, the streets, plumbing, toiletry, having toilets, and other things that we take for granted every single day. Africans are still confused. And many of you guys hop on my platform and want to complain about racism when racism doesn't apply to y'all, because if racism was so bad, you wouldn't come to America. You guys don't know the first deal about racism. You guys are in cahoots with a lot of the white people that you want to complain about. You're in cahoots with the UK, cahoots with America, cahoots with Canada, cahoots with the Arabs, with Chinese and others. You guys don't have no room to be shaking your finger and trying to make us feel bad about racism when you guys are wanting to be colonizers yourself. You guys want to exhibit dominance over us, and we're not letting you. And that's why y'all mad about our delineation. You're mad about us calling stuff out. You're mad about us pointing stuff as they are. You're mad that we do not exalt Africans and Pan-Africanism over us, because that is the equivalent to white supremacy. It's Black supremacy. We don't like neither. We just know how to deal with one because we've been here for so long. And we don't want to learn how to deal with you. So Africans, okay, we're not the same. And I'm not your people. I don't need to bow down to you. The guy that's in the chat room talking all this smack stuff. Where are you from, by the way? Vibes Dim Cool says, God bless Trump. May he continue to bless America with his supreme leadership. I mean, it's better that somebody that means business, Vibes, be in control at this time and what's going on around the world. I'd rather have somebody that's real serious about making sure that we're going to be okay versus someone that's nonchalant and doesn't really care about nothing, and they're allowing any and everything to happen like Obama and also Biden, especially Biden did. Okay, Biden was also a so-called KKK white supremacist, but y'all don't want to talk about that part. You don't want to talk about how he just disrespects Black Americans, how he allowed the treasonous acts of having the border open for 4 years and giving America over to foreigners. None of that stuff somehow bothers y'all, especially Africans, because you got a leg in to what's going on when this country is treated like it doesn't matter. Okay. What's up, African goddess? You said Ceuta is Africa, although it has been Spanish territory for a long time. See, I never heard of Ceuta before. Ceuta is one of the only land borders between Africa and the European Union, making it a key route for people seeking entry into Europe. I'm surprised nobody's ever really tried to go that route before. It's my first time ever hearing about it. Or maybe they did, I just didn't know. I wasn't aware. African Goddess says many migrants, including Moroccans and people from other African countries, try to reach Ceuta by crossing the border fence or swimming from nearby Moroccan towns such as Fendiket. Do they ever have like shark sightings? Don't sharks hang out in those types of waters? I'm confused. You said the socialist president of Spain is responsible for the deaths. You think so? Why you say that? How are they going to survive now? Pussyfoot Production says. I mean, how were they surviving before they took the risk of coming over there to Spain? They didn't look like they were about to break down and die any day now. They weren't wilted away. They've been eating something somehow. I don't know. They look fine to me. You said 25K have been returned to Morocco so far. Okay. And you said I would suggest every American to arm yourself heavy. Exactly, annoyed Clover. This is the time for us to not be, what's the word? To be docile or think that nothing could ever happen to us here. You know, I think that more border officers, agents should go and make sure that we have it totally wrapped up tight for people not to dare try and attempt to do anything. I'm just scared about what would happen if a Democrat got back into office. Honestly, I don't think it would be great for us to ever allow a Democrat to take office next. We got to keep in play what Trump is doing right now to secure and preserve our country. Like, by all means, we got to get Republicans back in. And I'm not a Republican, by the way. I am an independent voter. I voted for Trump once and I voted for Obama the first time ever. I was truly delusional and tricked with Obama. After his first presidency, I truly understood that I made a big mistake in voting for Democrats. And ever since then, I've been awoke from the realities of what Democrats were on. But I'm telling you, when Biden became president, it was scary what was going on in America, how fast things were turning, and how nonchalant the Democrats were acting about the invasion of America. And all the monies that they could find for every immigrant and illegal that they could not find for vets or Americans for nothing. And I just found that very, very odd. And I started understanding that these people were enablers for the globalists, such as George Soros and others that would like to have their piece of the pie of America and helping to collapse and take over America, that the Democrats were willing to be partners with these types of people. They are treasonous. They're treasonous. They should not be in power. There is nothing a Democrat could tell me or make me feel like I need to go vote for a Democrat for what? What do I get out of voting for them? Nothing. Anyways, they are raiding local shops. African Goddess says there is no racism anymore. There's still degrees of racism, Corel Tell, just when you think about some of the court cases that are pending, Nolan Wells and others, his death and others like that. And other people get like a slap on the wrist or no jail time, like that Asian guy, Chow, that unalived the 14-year-old, leaving his store, and he gets off scot-free, no charge whatsoever for murder. So there's still degrees of racism. But what I'm saying is Africans can't say and use the excuse because they came over here on purpose. You don't get to pick up a problem that you wouldn't have had if you stayed home. How are you going to use a problem that has nothing to do with you? You get to assign yourself to the same problem of the people that's been here for centuries and pretend like that's now your problem when you signed up to come on purpose, and you can always go back and never come back to America. You don't have to be here. It's not a requirement for immigrants to come to America. Nobody has it written in stone that you must come to America. You're deciding to do the thing that you're doing. And if you say racism, then go back home. Problem solved. Okay? Goodbye, saying goodbye early. You had it coming. There's enough people going over the border. They could just walk in and take over. Goodbye, saying goodbye early. Why are you saying goodbye? You want America to be taken over, Gil Sickles? What are you saying? That's not good. That's not going to last long. I hope not. They absolutely didn't enter Spain. That land is in Africa, you phony lot. Wait, why are they mentioning Spain then? They were right there at the beach. What are you talking about, Josh? I'm not a brother. I don't know who you're talking about. All right, this latest number I have heard is 38,000 people have gone back already. Well, that's good. They still got 20 to 30,000 more. Most of the local shops have closed, okay? When are you, that's a fucking lie. Huh? Winter. Okay. Interesting how you won't show your face, don't have you believe what you're talking on. Kobe, I don't have to show my face. What's important is what I'm saying and what I'm showing. Who are you for me to prove something to you? You ain't nobody to me. Beat it. While they are probably going to send them all back, African Goddess says. Movement says no way was the invasion organic. Question is who was funding and behind it? Probably George Soros. Amen. They didn't want to hear that. Slavery is still a thing in Africa. Yeah, it is. I'm going to talk about that later. Finally, someone who knows her history. All right. And The Rock, how you doing, Rock? You said Africa is a big plantation with permanent slaves. It definitely is. That's the part that's really bothering me about Africa. They know damn well that their shit ain't sturdy. You know damn well that the people are miserable over there for the most part. So why are they so hell bent on getting us to be included in the festivities of their bullshit? They want us to become debt slaves. That's what I've been saying for now 7-8 years, since 2018. They want debt slaves. And they think that we should return to their old customs because there is a such thing called debt slavery. And they do have people that are indentured to paying back debt and being enslaved and becoming a servant for the causes of a king or a president or these people that are supposedly royalty to Ghana, not royalty to me. I will never confess that you guys are my king. I rebuke, I denounce, I reject any king over me. No, 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 no. I'm not a part of your jurisdiction. I'm not a part of your bloodline. I'm not a part of your land. And I'm not going to be a part of your fucking laws. So that king can stay and kick rocks over wherever the hell he's at. Africans are nothing but slaves in their own land, okay? Brad says, Spain said anyone who comes across the water, they'll have potential to be citizens. Wow. Slavery is still alive in Brazil, is it? Oh, no. Everything is Trump's fault to liberal goofs. Exactly. Good afternoon, ma'am. Hi, loud breather. How are you doing? Trump warned them 10 years ago. He did for 10 years? Oh, wow. I know what the thing I love about Trump is he's not shy. He's not going to like be politically correct. I'd rather have somebody that's going to be blunt and to the point and let you know and understand what the hell is going on and not wasting time and not mincing words. You can only respect somebody like that. You can only respect that. Idiot commie socialist newly elected PM legalized 500,000 illegals. Is that right? In movement. Thank you for coming back. I think I seen you on my other channel. I think you went by another color. Are you the same I movement that I used to talk to? I think you were orange before. All right. African Goddess says Berber people have not historically been enslaved. Okay. Belt fed machine pew pew would deter indeed. Wow. All right. This is what the Democrats want for American open borders. Yeah, they do. The UK, Ireland, Spain, they're getting overrun, and nobody of ethnic natives in these countries are going to be having a good time in the next 20 to 30 years. Wow. Diaper Donnie. Okay. The swim is not that long by the looks of it. They didn't even come to the Sunclin area, only a Spanish enclave in Africa, so they will have to go through the process if they want to live in Spain and Europe. Iran is winning. You think so? We'll see about that. Any American that can arm themselves should do so in heavy. I feel bad about that chair. That's why I'm FBA 65-year-old woman and voted yesterday Republican for the first time. I know you felt better, didn't you, Waterfalls? Thank you for voting for Republic. You can help so many people to reach them because a lot of baby boomers, unfortunately, are so confused on being loyal to Democrats for no damn reason. The Democrats have not done nothing for us at all for no reason. But let's get back into this discussion about Spain. I do have one more video I kind of want to show to highlight and hyphenate the importance of why some of the different changes that Trump has done with TPS is taking effect, because he wants to disallow for this onslaught of taking over the country. You know, it really is happening. If you do not pay attention and if you do not catch it in time, it will happen right underneath your nose. That's the truth.
تشاهدوا الان معنا متابعينا الكرام، الرمله ما بقاتش كتبان، الرمله ما بقاتش كتبان. اليوم السلطه غادي تعمر كلها بالمغاربه. غريب لان مثلا كان كياليد بصح الحراقه، كان كياكل الشهد ديال بصح. الواحد كيعوم، شوفوا شحال من واحد كيقدر في وسط البحر، شوفوا شحال من واحد كيقدر في وسط البحر خوتي المغرب، شوفوا شحال من واحد، شوفوا فين وصلوا، شوفوا فين وصلوا. شوف الناس نازلين، شوف راس الجبل، شوف راس الجبل، شوف راس الجبل.
I mean, unreal. Let me fast forward a little bit, see if it changes. Okay. Look at all these able-bodied men. They don't look frail. They don't look hungry. They're not decimated. They can run, jump, swim, climb. Come on, y'all. They were doing fine enough to have clean clothes on. But they need help. They need asylum. They don't want to work. They don't want to hustle. They don't want to get their governments to do right by them. For some reason, that's way too hard to do. It's way easier to go to somebody else's homeland and demand stuff from them. Apparently. It looks organized to me. They got little tubes thrown all around. They look like they well equipped to do whatever they're doing. Somebody set them up to come. I wouldn't be surprised if it was George Soros or other globalists, other people that have ulterior motives for trying to undermine people's countries, trying to force us into a one world order. Remember that term that the Bushes talked about? George Bush Sr. He was the first that brought up the one world order. And now we see all these types of events that are taking effect that have been going on for 4 years in America previous to Trump, and all these other countries that are being invaded and being undermined and turned over into a third or second world country from what they were. There's a lot of people that's banking on countries not having any type of border whatsoever, and that they can just come in and out however they want and have their own little set aside kingdom or country or resources from their homeland where they can just dip in and out of other people's shit and get an extra benefit on top of what they got. And migrants think that we're supposed to be down for that, for them to be able to continue to do. I can have your shit, and then I got my shit that you can't have. We're all unified now, right? We're all in this together, right? Of course you're not. Look at all these tubes, y'all. Look at this. Can y'all believe this? Wow. That's unreal.
Because we don't have a good life in Morocco. Don't meet we don't have good medicine, and we got.
And these same guys don't care for women's having rights. Okay, a lot of these places do FGM on women and not even allow them to have clits, and do brutality against women. Force them to wear their hijabs or hijabs or whatever it's called, and all kinds of craziness, but then they want us to look at them as human. We're supposed to look at them as just needing to be helped and given opportunities in our homeland so that they can turn around and impose their ideas on us later. Or they can end up becoming mayors like Muhammad, whatever his name is, the dude in New York, Mahdi, that Muslim mayor, the Indian African guy from Kenya, I think, or Uganda, changing New York as we speak. And these same type of people have aspirations of having power in our homeland and making rules and laws and policies that will mess up our whole world of living. But we're supposed to feel sorry because they seem the part of just being human beings. Oh, they just need help like everybody else needs help. Oh, it's crazy.
We don't have a good teachers, and it's a bad life in Morocco. That's why we get swimming to here.
Look at how fast they're moving, y'all. Very energetic. Like I said, military, aged. Very, very random and unpredictable.
Yes, people, it's come from Spain because it doesn't do that there. No work, no eat. We don't want to go to family there. Everything is difficult and easy, and that's problem because the just there or something like that, or the.
ايضا دمرت.
I think I made my point on that topic. Lord have mercy. Let me see what you guys have to say. Again, thank you, Waterfalls, for voting for a Republican. I'm so proud of you. He doesn't know what he's saying. Heavy is right. Worst president has ever been in the world, somewhere down the road says. Why did Biden sit in it? He was a puppet for sure, Josie. Distance is approximately 250 miles between Morocco and Senatua. Okay, just the sight of Trump makes Kami seethe with rage. Poor chair, well heeled vet dem here. Vet dem, you're a veteran, and you are a Democrat. Are you saying that, Ryan Beans? You know, Democrats don't really care for vets like that, to be honest. They really don't. No little pew-pews. Two-story says, Trump is not worse than Bush. I know that's right. Somewhere, LOL, short-term memory forgot Biden, huh? Biden was the worst. And then Bush Jr., and then Obama is the worst. They're all was Bush a Republican or a Democrat? I can't even remember now. Let me remember. Remind me if George Bush Jr. and Senior, were they Democrats or Republicans? You think Trump is worse? Dr. Willie Fisher, gosh, love you, thank you. The smell of Trump makes commies swoon. You're right, the target, but just can't seem to figure it out. America is not racist. Uh, it's not completely racist. I would say that the court systems are not very fair, and they don't look at black people doing the same crime as white people as being on the same level. So whatever that's called, if that's not racism, it's prejudice, or it's um, just you're putting us in a category that's not similar to other Americans the same. So I don't like that part about America. I think whatever crime I do should be equivalent to the crime of a white person or any other person does. The same crime should be the same time. It should not be no difference in that. That's what I think we should work on the most. And then also we got to work on, why are there a slew of lynchings going on that are not being investigated, and they're being told as being suicides. And these people didn't commit suicide, they got hung up in trees. So that thought process that people have for us and saying that it was all suicides for the same type of crime, it's got to be at least 8 of those that I can think on that has not been solved, that is not fair. So things of that nature is what I have an issue with. Yes, and I have an issue with the government disallowing Black Americans from having their own specific ethnicity separate from immigrants. There is no reason why, rhyme or anything, for immigrants to be able to siphon our identity and use it at will. We're not the same people. They don't come from the same landmass. We're not the same. We shouldn't be treated as such. And I believe that the Democrats are the ones that allowed it to happen, and the Republicans just went along with it, which doesn't make sense, because you're allowing for a double dip of immigrants to dip in and out of our benefits and our identity, and then use their own separate identities that nobody else can have access to but them, giving them assurities of having advancement over the people of America, that which happen to be Black Americans. No, I don't like that either. So there's a couple of things that I would like to see changed. But racism overall it's not everywhere, but I think certain people that's American that are white happen to be racist. Not all, but there are some. And I don't know how big a percentage it is, to be honest. But that is still a problem. But nonetheless, Africans and other immigrants from all over the world that happen to be melanated can't use the excuse of racism, because they signed up to come over here for whatever is going on. They chose to choose these problems over here versus their own problems. So that shouldn't be looked upon as being the same. It's not the same. You said Africa is still behind, but progress is being made rapidly. Whereabouts, African goddess? I don't know about the word rapidly. I think maybe some things are being improved, but again, it's by everybody else. Chinese, I'm sure, is still building. I'm sure other people that like Lebanese and others that come to Africa, they set up their own businesses and build their own structures and whatever like that. So it gives the appearance of different areas looking better, but it's not for Africans per se. It's for the other people that have come to Africa. And I just don't understand why as many men are in Africa. Why wouldn't there be like a set aside of 100 million men to learn to be engineers specific to their problems that's going on in their homeland? They could really change things in like 5 to 6 years if they went to school for like 4 and then started on their project about a year to 2 years after that, and had all those men doing the same thing to help build their structure. But it just seems to me like a lot of those African men feel like they should be sitting pretty underneath the fan and watching other people slave and sweat on their behalf. That's the issue. They want to volunteer other people that have nothing to do with them to do their job for them. And it's like that's why I don't want to mess with people like the people of Ghana. They can't be trusted. These people don't want to become engineers. They don't want to take control of their destiny. They don't want to be real manly men. They don't want to solve their problem collectively, and like other races of people do. They don't believe in sacrifice. They don't believe in hard work. They want to make everybody else do their work for them. And that's like a no-go. Like, who is going to sign up to be somebody else's bitch? Most certainly not most of Black Americans. We're never going to want to sign up to become your bitch. We're not going to want to sign up to become bow down to you. Like, who the fuck are you? You're nobody to us. Like, that's real talk. At this point, the Democratic Party should rename to the Communist Party of America. We all see exactly, Brad. You know, Brad, when Trump stood in the State of the Union, and he had mentioned, everybody stand up if you're for American first. And no Democrat, I believe, stood up. They all sat there looking dumb. But they let the world know how much they're not about protecting America and our sovereignty and protect everything that we got going on here in America. They would throw it all away just so that they can welcome people that have nothing to do with this land over here. Just so that they can stay in power with fraudulent votes. That's how wicked these people have become. And you said, Brad, it will be annoyed Clover. Trump is not bad for a Black America. No, he's not. I tried to explain it the other day. I said, maybe Trump is not looking to bless us per se. He's not designating stuff solely for us and looking towards us, but he's handling so many problems that plague our community collectively. By default, it happens to benefit us. But when you think about the Democrats and your vote for them, you are not benefited, not even in the least bit, not even by default. You're being ran over, you're being overtook, you're being overwhelmed, and you're being replaced by Democrats. That's how they look at us. Use their vote to flip the numbers on them. That's how they look at it. We're going to flip your vote with the numbers of these illegals and these immigrants to be on top of you, to overwhelm and replace you, so that next time your vote won't even matter. That all these extra new people that came in place of you will have the power that you used to have, because we done gave it away to illegals and to immigrants. That's no benefit, no looking out for us, no concern or consideration. Just use and abuse and spat out as quick as you get the opportunity to do so. That's why there's nothing coming when it comes to Democrats, because they have it all in their mind how they're just going to use us and spit us out and then replace us. Who wants to fuck with that? I don't. You said the USA is trying to dominate everyone, not the other way around. Well, like I said, if it wasn't for the show of what Biden did for 4 years, perhaps I could believe some of what you just said. But a lot of stuff happened in 4 years. You said Vera caravans of 10,000 people coming at our border and entering the country under the last administration. Democrats realize they're losing voters, so they are just open the border. That's why we got to keep them out. Tell me why Spain has land in Africa. I never heard of that before, but somebody said that I guess they were in control of the land for a while. 9H, definitely a few got eaten. 9H, more people in Europe die from lack of air conditioning than America's do in mass shootings. Oh, wow. I never heard that before, Brad. Sad Euro trash. Look at a map. That part of Spain is Africa. Brad Brias, welcome to the confused, ignorant, and hateful club. I'm not hateful, Boston Oliver. I refuse to be called that. That's ridiculous. So me being honest about what I see and what I feel, my feelings are not validated, Boston Oliver. Is that what you're telling me? Like I don't have a right to have my own feelings. Like everybody else can have their feelings and views as they want, but somehow I'm held to a standard that nobody else is being held to. No, that's bullshit. That's you trying to control me. You must be a liberal. Ain't no hate. It's about honesty. Yeah, invasion, exactly. You said your biggest threat is your government. It could turn to be that, but I hope that they stay on our external enemies. People die in Europe from lack of melanin in the sun. Is that right? Boston Oliver, I'm right down the street. Meet up. Oh, Dennis says maybe don't F up other countries. You can't blame everything on Trump. Come on. Over consumption of fossil fuels. You're a moron. Okay. I'm not a Republican by myself, but would never vote for blue currently. I know that's right. It's sad Europe can't figure out air conditioning. Why can't they just? That's odd. I didn't even know that Europe didn't have air conditioner. I never knew. That's crazy. No ID, no entry. Exactly. European being Pearson for environment and diseases forever. Wow. Trump is a globalist. I don't know if he's a globalist. I think that he has preferences of people that he wants to relate to, or he wants certain areas that are near here to be I guess friendly to what he believes in and what he would like to see overall of what's going on with neighbors. Like he's concerned about the cartels in Mexico. He's concerned about the human smugglers and other people from other places that bring with them different crimes or gangs or other things like that. He doesn't want to have, internal chaos brought in by other people from other places. Like I'm glad he's like that. Blaze thinks Obama in 2028 but calls people morons. Blaze thanks Obama. I hope Obama don't try to come back. He better not come back. Yes, look up Tara Lee, Rodas, and Deborah White. They try to fix it and Dems punish them. You are correct. Tara Lee. I'm gonna look her up right now. I never heard of Tara Lee. Thank y'all for being here. If you guys could, please hit that like button. We're gonna change the topic in just a little bit. I just wanted to wrap up my perception of how I feel about the invasion that happened with Spain with migrants. And, I guess we'll continue to watch and see how long it will take to have the rest of the people leave. If they're going to do weird stuff to stay or whatever is going to happen with that. Let me see, who is this? A whistleblower. Okay, hold on. Tara Lee. Retired border control. Okay. HHS whistleblower, retired border patrol agent, counter trafficking expert testifying Biden Harris refusal to protect unaccompanied alien children. Okay, hold on. Let's see. It won't let me see this. That's not working with me. Trusted leader, world class training professional, been a public servant for 20 years, 17 of which has been dedicated to serving as inspector, federal inspector general. Is this the same one? Maybe this is not the same one. Oh, this must be somebody else. Hold on, somebody with similar name. But a whistleblower nonetheless. Um, exploitation crisis, how the U.S. government is failing to protect migrant children from trafficking and abuse. Okay. I was hoping to find her speak about it, but hold on. And the other one you said was, I don't know. I just got rid of it. I'm sorry about that. Child rapist for Trump. Okay, D. Isn't slavery a thing in the U.S. too? I don't know anybody that's been enslaved in the U.S., but people are likening some of the migrant stuff that goes on with the low payment as equivalent to slavery. But these people rather have that than deal with their country for some reason. It was organized. The numbers were too great too quickly. Thank God for President Trump and his administration. DD Dems don't persecute pedos. Okay. All right. Libya is a problem. Yes. Problem for darker hue Africans. The whole North. Yeah. They enslaved in North Africa. Isn't that where a lot of that slave trade is going? Next time, Trump will warn Europe to take in refugees from Iran. Oh, Lord. Trump is a European. I totally understand why many people in the global south want to enter the West. However, it's not a long term solution. Republic, yes. Blue isn't for you. No, it's not. Trump makes moves on behalf of us, survival of the white species, because they are on the verge of extinction. Yeah, I've been hearing that the numbers are declining and a lot of y'all are not having babies and whatnot. And I mean, I guess if I was in y'all position, I would want to not allow others from other, I mean, laws like allowing people to become mayors and governors and representatives in the Senate and the Congress. Why is it a law or allowance of rules for people from other places to be able to take on those positions of power, like Ilhan Omar? What kind of sense does that make to bring in a Muslim Somalian to have power to basically ignore the Americans and help out her own and scam and scheme allegedly and have them in the place of power to make policies and stuff? I think all that stuff should be stripped. All those allowances of allowing other people from other places with dual allegiances should cease to exist. It should not be allowed under no circumstance. So until they do that, they ain't doing enough, to be honest with y'all. Until they do that, they're not doing enough. So white people, please listen to me. Having that philosophy to not allow other foreigners from other places to access power and make rules and laws against Americans, against our will, tap dancing over our sovereignty and freedom, should be disallowed with every fiber of our being. And we should press upon Trump and all the people in power to change the law or change the makeup of people running for office. You have to be here as American for at least 100+ years to be able to run an office. 100+ years or more. Like, for real. The biggest threat to the world is Islam and communism. Many are Arabs. So what happened to white South Africans? I think they didn't even take that many in, to be honest with you. There wasn't like hundreds of South African white folks that came over. It was only less than like 40 or 50. Fake South Africans, you mean? Okay. Israel plan working. The white South Africans are just fine. They have one of the highest standards of living in the world. African Goddess says. Miss Morgan says, what kind of asylum could these young, well-fed, military-aged males possibly qualify for? That's what I'm trying to say. They weren't feeble. They weren't walking around like struggling. They were running and sprinting and climbing and all kinds of fancy stuff they were able to do. They need to keep all that energy home. White people blend into every culture and nationality. It's an Arab Berber country. They aren't Caucasian, Robert says. Stupid Europe offers no deterrent. They're economic migrants, African Goddess says. Is Morocco that bad? Economic migrants, come on. Where are the meek? These men are heathens. They are all heathens, Jan Van says. Lisa's happening to Spain. Foreigners are pawns. White people blend into every culture. That's not really been the history now as it has it. Matthew says, this is what socialism brings. Take a good look. And Morocco is not a poor country. Jabin, I mean, yes, this isn't happening. And if it is it a good thing, right? You talking about the invasion is not a good thing. It was horrifying, just like Annoyed Clover says. How come nobody believes they're trying to replace us with cheaper workers? I don't understand why we would never piece together the fact that these people are replacing us with cheaper workers. Like, come on. Didn't Morocco and Spain have a long history? I don't know. Morocco has experienced steady economic growth over the past decades. Poverty is relative, African Goddess says. Islam has mental issues. Javan says, thank the Lord God for President Trump. Our borders are closed. We have to put up with this for 4 years. We have to deal with the repercussions of these heathens. I know it's still pending. Technically, George Bush Sr. was not the first one that brought up the New World Order. Was JFK. Was he? What year was that? I thought for sure it was George Bush Sr. Is he a Republican, by the way? I don't care who bought the New World Order. We're not doing it. Okay, Franklin says, why wouldn't the corporations want cheap workers? JFK was an actual Democrat. Okay, by the way. This could be us if we are not careful. You're right, Matthew. This already was us, Frank says. If they don't have to respect the law, nobody does. Exactly. Oh, they're going to make us respect the law as Americans, but the foreigners don't have to respect nothing. We can't have that. This didn't happen in mainland Spain, you effing moron. It happened in the province in North Africa. Okay. All right. And still don't build nothing at home. No, they don't. Yes, he was a real Democrat, not a fake one like the current socialists and communists. Yeah, I think a lot of people like JFK a lot. When he was unalived. I wasn't here yet, but from the clips of video that I see of him, a lot of people were really affected by his demise. And I think probably he was like the last Mohican of the good Democrats that were. And everything after probably his death, I mean, I don't see a lot of good. I thought Clinton at one point was decent because I remember in the 90s, that's when you couldn't get fired and cared about being fired because there was so many other job opportunities. You could be fired one on a Monday and find a job by Friday. It was so plentiful. We had manufacturing, we had production and all that. And I don't know if it was the end of that era with Clinton. Was he the one that gave away our manufacturing and production jobs to China? Was it him or the next president after him? That's when I kind of get confused. But anyways, that was the golden age that I remember. When Clinton was president, it seemed like we had so many jobs and opportunities and everything was made in America. There was no place you could go and not see made in America. Now it's hard pressed to find made in America tag. It's very hard. More propaganda, no lies. Dems are for the people and making the billionaires pay their fair share. So keep spreading your lies. Oh my God. For the people that's not American, Evelyn, that are not American, you right about that. A job in Spain, France, Belgium, or the Netherlands can pay several times more than a similar job in Morocco. So was Spain. Hello, Brian. Correct. Okay. Most immigrants are traitors, but claim to be so proud of their nation. Oh, yeah, they are. Lock and low, strap up. Okay. African goddess loves invasions, Frank says. Lord, invading of Tubies on Tubies, illegal invasions. All right. The Rock says uncivilized and lazy and don't want to go, incapable of building at first world nation like FBA did. Oh, because in their mind, it was done by slaves when not all of us were slaves, actually. A lot of us were freed people who had trades that also contributed to building America. Okay, Mr. Joel says it is duty of every American citizen to be armed in public. Make sure you are permitted to do so. Make sure. They say is blacks can't swim. That's because we ain't never fled across no waters. We're not used to that. That's true. That's a lot of the anger and frustration that a lot of melanated folks feel, that we have not been forced out of our land, that we are not scrambling and scraping about like they are. They don't think that we should be sitting pretty in our own home country. And that's why they're trying to do everything under the sun to try to claim that we're something else that we're not. Oh, you guys are really Africans. You're really immigrants like we are. You don't have no status because you're not really an American. I mean, these people are so gung-ho to dismantle our status and our name as American that they're besides themselves. Africans are beside yourself. Why are y'all beside yourself? We are not obligated to see ourselves differently than what we've been seeing ourselves for all these years. You come along with a scam, a con game, and now y'all mad that we have picked up on all the lies and the con, and we said we're not being bothered with none of y'all. And now you guys are having a hissy fit. Like literally, you guys, if y'all go to TikTok right now and you put in stuff like foundational Black American versus African or whatever like that, different discussions are always on TikTok that is ratcheting up about us and our identity. Like everybody from all over the world that's melanated and not even melanated are hosting panels of people arguing all day long about who is Black Americans. They can't accept just that by itself, that we're Black American. that we were known as being the category of black, which is ethnicity that happened to be American. No, they want to say, how long were you known to be an American? What were you before the Americans? Like, it doesn't matter what I was before because I'm not that now. It doesn't matter if slave trade happened 400 or 500 years ago. We're not that now. If you guys were involved in the slave trade and selling supposedly 12.5 million, which I don't believe is true, I think the number is way lesser than that. I believe that most people were already in their homeland and they were enslaved there, whether it is in America, Jamaica, Haiti, Brazil, and other places. Sure, there were some that made it in the boat, but not millions. Probably a few 100,000 people made it to the Caribbean and a few made it to America. But somehow, because of the story of slave trade, because of the movie Roots, we're supposed to believe that whatever those people were called, which is a colonizing word to call somebody an African, because that's not what you guys were called before the European made its way to colonize Africa. They gave the name of Africa and they called the people African. Our people were called Negroes, American Indian, then reclassified into words such as colored, mulatto, Afro-American, black, and then the hideous term of African American. People are still sitting around trying to figure out how they can change our name yet again, and we're not allowing that to happen anymore. I want y'all to hear me clearly. For the first time in my existence, and I'm in my 50s, we have decided to declare our own ethnicity name, not wait for the government to hand us these category names. We scrapped the African American name because I never liked it. It came about in 88. I was a teenager. Jesse Jackson just attached it to us without anyone even saying, yes, we want it. We've always called ourselves Black American. People have been labeling us African American ever since the term came up in 88. And ever since that African term was attached to us without our will or consent, other melanated people are trying to insinuate that African American means you're African and that you should be in Africa. And now we have the Democrats touching and rubbing hands with Ghana and other foreign countries, declaring us as being bonded to Africa against our consent and our will, connecting us to the African Union since 2003 or 2 by the usage of the African American term, connecting it to a Region 6 against our consent, saying the whole population that's known as African American is a part of this region. And this is why we see that there is a serious problem brewing when it comes to the continent of Africa. We see y'all are running around orchestrating different devious plans, diabolical, asserting yourself on us as if you are our leader and now you have authority over us, and we do not like it. We don't like none of it. We want y'all to stop and go away. We want y'all to go grab your people that's actually from the continent of Africa that's fleeing all over the world and holler back at them about what they need to be doing to better y'all situation in Africa, instead of worrying and obsessing over Black Americans and what we not doing for you. We are not your slave. We're not your property. We don't care how much interest you have in us, how much invitation that you have given and bestowed upon us. We don't care if there are 5,000 of us that have decided to be duped by y'all and go to Ghana and sign up for citizenship and sign up for residency and buy land and purchase a business, whatever they're doing. They don't have nothing to do with me, because why? We did not consent. We're telling you we're not interested, and no means no. But we still have the issue of Ghana running amok. First, it was the president of Ghana, Mahama, going to the UN, declaring ancestors at the burial ground that was once known as the Negro Burial Ground of New York. They conveniently changed the name to African Burial Ground in 1993 so that they can have the shenanigans that they're having now, posing as lost people of their people in New York, putting a reef down and putting liquid on it, on the ground, and all this other nonsense. Then going to the UN, declaring reparations, people that were involved in despicable trade of humans, throwing them on boats or putting them in chains. These same bloodline people are back talking about we're going to be the hero of reparations. I mean, the shit is so fucked up. It's not even close to being laughable. It's disturbing. It's annoying. I'm so irritable. I don't even know how to tell y'all how irritable I am about all the stuff that these people are doing. But this clown stood in the UN declaring to be the hero for reparations with his background. Then he went to another city in America and got an award for him showing up at the UN. Somebody put a reward in this motherfucker's hands, saying that he was the hero of reparations, giving him accolades that does not match the reality of the disgust that we feel that this guy performing this lie, this con artist lie, to go represent for us when we did not care for him to be there. We didn't want him to be there. In fact, we're pissed that he ever went. And people just put a award in his hand. He stood up there with a smug little smile. But you know, God is not to be mocked. You know, that night he went home, there was a flood. It was a crazy, crazy flood. Then, after exhibiting that type of action from God to him about the flood and everything, you would think he would have rethought about what he was doing. No. He came back with the bullshit. He hijacked a freedom holiday known as Juneteenth, June 19th, that's known for Galveston, Texas. They were the last to know about their freedom from slavery back in the 1800s. I don't remember the exact date, but they found out 2 years after everybody else was told. So they celebrated Juneteenth to remember how they were told their freedom and honoring their ancestors that were let go from bondage. Do you know what this President Mahama decided to do this year? He took the Juneteenth to celebrate in Ghana, which has nothing to do with Ghana. It's all about Texas. It's all about freedom. It's all about ancestry. It's all about their bloodline. He took the holiday, reimagined it, turned it into bondage again, reenacted slavery with people with chains looking despicable and disgusting, in Ghana, reenacting slavery instead of thinking about freedom. That's what he did, to center himself and make it all about when they thought that they were powerful people, which was about the slave trade. You see, these people are not sorry about doing slavery. They're only sorry that they did not amass a first world country where everybody could respect them and honor them and look at them and with fond eyes and accolades to be given to them and all. They didn't earn shit. Destroying lives and not having nothing to show for with your building and your culture and all this other stuff. It just showcased how decrepit they were and how primitive they have always been. So instead of him just reimagining a plan to build Ghana to get their flooding situation in order before the flood would happen yet again, no, he took our holiday that meant freedom and bastardized it into making it, reimagining it into bondage again. And I was so angered and livid by seeing that he did that, even though I don't know anybody from Texas that celebrated the holiday. In fact, I just learned about the holiday about 2 years ago. But it just upset me that he would put it in the veins, the lens of bondage again. But God did a favor yet again. He flooded yet again Ghana. This time, 34 people perished in floods. Businesses destroyed, cars destroyed, all kinds of stuff destroyed. Instead of them finally getting the memo that perhaps is not the best thing to do with messing around with Black Americans' ancestors or holidays or things that are connected to them that represents freedom and spirituality of being freed, because that's close to being with God, to be free, to be able to make up your mind and do whatever you desire to do without nobody forcing you into a relationship or into an action that you don't want to be a part of. Everybody is shitting on us having freedom, in particular, Ghana. So guess what? Now, I just happened to be watching TikTok and I found a video that popped up, or maybe YouTube. And now we have the king of Ghana, the Ashanti king of Ghana, has now making his rounds. He's going to be coming back to America this month. Why is he coming back, should you guys ask? He's coming back because he wants to garner money from us to help build his shithole called Ghana. Let me find this. Hold on, let me get this information. It's unbelievable. Unfreaking real. And today, by the way, is a festival that they just made up 15 years ago, trying to entice us yet again to be all about Ghana, all about Africa. Oh, our heritage was lost in the slave trade. Oh, I have to be hooked up with my people. Okay, here we go. This is the AI overview. It says, His Majesty, I would say His Majesty of Ghana. Okay. Otun Fuo Ose Tutu II, the Ashanti Hihan, king of Ashanti Kingdom in Ghana, their king, is visiting Washington, D.C. in August of 2026. He is traveling to preside over the Millennium Excellence Foundation USA Awards and celebrate a traditional AKWASIDAE festival event. They know how to do all kinds of festivals. If they would just do away with all these festivals and get to building shit, maybe they could get started. But this is the Royal Guest Lecture It's supposed to be at, of course, Howard University, our college, August 25th. They're having a celebration August 30th at 11 at the Bowie State University at 11 o'clock a.m. If y'all could go and protest, that would be great. Protest that shit. It's free admission, by the way. That's going to be at Bowie State University. Admission is free. August 30th at 11 a.m. Sunday. You can go for that celebration and let them really know how you feel. But again, they'll be there August 25th, 2026 at Howard University. And they said that the core activities included cultural durbars, recognition of diaspora leaders, and an exclusive royal itinerary. Exclusive royal itinerary. Whoa. Oh, wow. Let me find this video. I wanted to showcase a video real quick. I just don't like these people. I ain't gonna lie. I don't like people trying to mess with us like they think they can get away with doing. I don't like people playing on our emotions. I don't like people just playing like, everything is sweet and they can just do whatever they want and ain't nobody gonna say nothing. You got me fucked up. I'm gonna say fucking plenty, all right? I don't like it. I don't like you. I don't wanna have any dealings with you. I don't give a damn about how you feel about it. Shit. The answer is no. And the more we make our message really understood, the better it will be. All right, so here we have 2 days ago, Ghana's so-called, that one's not in English. Never mind. I can't play that. It's not in English. Come on. Must be the other one. Hit the like button, by the way, if you guys could. I would greatly appreciate it. I'm just looking for the video. I hope it's in this phone. Showcasing what's about to happen. Also, the parade or festival that happened today. Okay, that's not it. And not to forget, the Haitians, they just lost their TPS. Why aren't any Africans inviting them to come home? We all from Africa. We all melanated, right? We all brothers and sisters. Where is the invitation for the Haitians? Why is everything always geared towards us? And that's why we know something is not right. Because you guys are hyperly focused in on us, and it is creepy, to be honest with you. Nothing about it feels good. It's not flattering. It's creepy. It feels wicked. It is wicked because that's how it feels too. But I'm just saying, like, nobody's even pretending to want to fuck with Haitians. They're not even acting the part of, yeah, I care for them. Ain't nobody uttering so much one word. No Pan-Africans are saying anything. They steadily talking to us. Every waking moment of the day, they come on our platforms and they argue with us about what we doing. And I know what it is that you guys want. Y'all want us to become debt slaves to Africa. And that's not gonna be something that we're ever gonna want to do. Like, real talk. We don't want to be your debt slave. You got plenty of Africans that could play the part of being a debt slave. Stop looking to us to be filling in the shoes for other potential slaves or servants. Like, please give us a fucking break. But I know you guys won't, because you intend to try to disrupt our whole existence, and that's when we're all going to have to raise up and take the gloves off all at once and act a fool. That's why I'm saying certain things we should do to alert all these people that's doing the most on what our intentions are. And our intention is not to be fucked with, like, for real. And I can't find that video. So, anyways, I'll show a little clip of this though. Because with everything that Ghana is doing, with this fakery of reparations and the fakery of wanting to link up with us for these holidays and all this stuff that they're doing. Oh yeah, that's the holiday they got. Let me get that one. We all know it's an act. It's a real act. Ain't nobody fooled by none of y'all. And why y'all think festivals should be the thing that we want to do the most is just like unbelievable. Festivals are, to me, demonic. It allows wicked spirits to come in. It allows people to be enchanted by different stuff. There's nothing of God from these festivals, not whatsoever. So if I was y'all, I would steer clear of any festival involving Ghana, especially, because they're not doing right. Damn, what happened to the video? How did that just get erased? I'm telling you, sometimes the devil be trying to fuck with me. Like, they literally are having the festival today, and I had a couple of videos showcasing it, and somehow they disappeared. What the hell? The devil is alive. Use alive. Use alive. Oh. Okay, here we got it. Dang, it just deleted. I don't know why it did that. That's really odd.
I think this festival is amazing because it brings people from all over the world together. I'm so proud to have witnessed this. I think Chaliwat is a wonderful festival.
I can clearly say that this is fight with the experience.
Like the vibe here is just so nice. The artists outdid themselves. Like every year they outdo themselves from the previous year. So it's always like impressive.
Like much bigger and better.
Especially the arts, like a lot.
Creativity is alive here, and I hope next year I'll be here to see it again. Yesterday was a blast. We are hoping.
So they think by seeing paintings and people dancing in the dirt and people wearing colorful outfits, like that's supposed to symbolize togetherness and unity. Okay. Again, these people know exactly what they're doing. They are definitely using like juju and dark magic, black magic, whatever it is, to influence us, to make us think that, everything is not as bad as it seems because of these festivals. But again, when you live over there and you put up with the things that's really going on in real time, or you are entrapped over there. I've heard stories lately that Black Americans are over there and they want to come home and they're like prohibited from leaving until they're given away to, giving up money because they're being extorted. There are people that are being scammed. They're lied to about the houses that they built, and then they come back years later after everything's done and they switch up on them with different regulations and rules that they didn't have when they first signed on to build houses or purchase land and all of that. The ownership of your business, you have to share it with a Ghanaian. A lot of things is about you being attached to them over you. Everything is about them having the power and leverage over you. And this is the type of relationship that they think that we supposed to be glad to be involved in. Like in their mind, they think because they're melanated that that makes it better for them to be the ones that's over us. It doesn't matter. We don't want nobody over us. Okay? We don't care to have nobody reigning supreme over us, whether they're white or melanated. It would not matter. And somehow they think dealing with them would make it a little bit better because of the skin. No, it don't. We're not eager to want to be underneath your thumb as well. And if I'm already dealing with a devil, why would I sign on to have a secondary devil to deal with? You could just be out of the picture altogether. And that's my suggestion to the Black Americans indigenous to America, to just steer clear of Ghana. Don't visit them. Don't acknowledge them. Don't put your information in their databases. Do not buy and purchase land or residency or citizenship, because everything you do is going to be used against you as a mechanism, a way of control and leverage over you. And this is why they're trying to be nice, or trying to appear, I should say, because look at the fact that they wear masks. It's all an appearance. Everything is all a game and play. It's not real. You having a good time for a few hours on one day is not gonna. It's gonna not matter if you having a lifetime of struggle or circumstances that come onto you behind all the different things that they're planning to do with you after the fact. But nice try. Again, these festivals that they have all the time. Imagine if they didn't have this culture of festivals all the goddamn time. Maybe they could actually do something. Maybe they should strategize on these festivals and talk about how they're going to clean up their streets, or how they're going to deal with their drainage, or how they're going to deal with crime or drugs or whatever else is going on, migration, whatever else. This is like a cop out for them to escape their reality and allow us to join in the festivities of escaping our reality and making something up in our head about them that's not real.
Today is going to be more exciting, so yeah.
So this is August 10th that it starts. Okay, so it hasn't started yet. They just showcasing what happened before. Hold on.
I think Chaliwat is a wonderful festival.
I can clearly say that this is quite worth the experience.
Like the vibe here is just so nice. The artists outdid themselves. Like every year they outdo themselves from the previous year. So it's always like impressive.
Like much bigger and better.
Especially the ads, like.
Of course, that looked like a witch right there. Okay. Anyways, you guys get my drift. You said y'all fear them Project Blacks. I don't fear them. I don't want to be around them. I don't want to be around ghetto Black folks either in America. I wouldn't want to be around people that had violent tendencies or whatever type of tendencies that's bad to be around. I don't want it around me. But yeah, I'm not talking about Black Americans per se right now, because they're home. Nonetheless, they're home. And hopefully some of the stuff that they're doing is going to be dealt with eventually, because Trump is not done with trying to clean up crime, I'm pretty sure. So a lot of people that's comfortable doing a lot of shenanigans in the hood or whatever like that, don't be surprised in the next 6 months to a year, he puts focus on you, because he got a good year and a half still to go. I'm just saying, none of that got true Is a little black supremacist just a racist bro? Okay. Morocco's GDP in 2025 was 182.37 billion with a growth rate of 4.9, doing better than Spain. Is that right? You literally said it's normal to go to the country that destroyed yours. You're a realist. Nope, I stay away from people in the cities no matter the color of the skin. That's what I'm saying. I don't discriminate. If you look like you're doing too much, I don't want you around me. You make no sense, Winter. Okay, they're all crazy. I don't know who you're talking about. Steven. Who's Steven? Africans are fleeing more than building. Yes, they are. African goddess, of course, I think it's good. I am an apple pie eating baseball loving American. The war cry of the ignorant, that's racist. Pity me card is wore out. If you look at Africa 40 years ago and Africa now, there are improvements. You probably why I wasn't paying attention though. I just started paying attention to Africa in 2018. That's when my eyes started paying attention to global stuff. A country without borders is not a country. Exactly. Hello from Spain. How you doing, Crux? How you doing? Stop using fake words in the first place and you will defeat it. How they do that, goddess. We don't cry, no pity. Africa has no men but little sissy boys who are incapable of building a doghouse. Wow. Ain't no such thing as illegal immigrant or documented migrants. They are illegal aliens, which is a foreign invader. Cartel members are considered foreign mercenaries. Oh, wow. There's women, don't hold them accountable either. They're encouraged to fleeing. Lotus. Okay. We get how we live. Okay. The illegal aliens are allowed in because they get seats in the House and Senate. Yes, they do. We happy people. False representation, you said. Africans can't get along and hate each other. Yeah, you know what? That's funny you say that. Because Africans definitely know their distinct tribe or what do you call it? Nationality, whatever, like that. They know that they're different from one another, that's bordering one another. They got their languages separate from each other, their culture separate from each other, dates of practicing this and that and the other. But when it comes to us, suddenly everybody in the 54 countries that's different from one another is all telling us we the same with you though. And the hustle is, we don't want you to have a status as an American. We don't want you to have a leg up from us as an American, as a citizen of America, as the people that matter in the country. We need you to believe that because you are melanated, that you are equivalent to an immigrant just like they are. Hell nah. Why would we tell ourselves we are equivalent to immigrants when we've been here for hundreds of years? Why would I dumb myself down to that? What kind of benefit is it for us to say we're equivalent to immigrants? That's, like I said, they play con games on us. They all want to do as they say, but not as they do. They want us to be underneath their thumb and control. And the delineation has caused all that to go away. And now everybody's screaming and yelling that we're xenophobic because we now recognize ourselves as people here in America, as ethnicity here in America, even though it hasn't been made so by the government. We made it so. And it's spread around throughout America where we're all speaking the same language that we're calling each other of our ethnicity. We're calling ourselves either Indigenous American Blacks, Foundational Black Americans, Freedmen American, Negro American, American Indian, or Solani, I believe. We are stopping all the cannibalism of other people eating off of us in our name and our history and everything attached to us, and they're feeding off of it. pretending like everything that we did here is theirs to claim. And then they have their stuff to claim separate from what we can claim. So in other words, they have made out a big double dip scam that they've been benefiting off of for I don't even know how many years, but enough years for concern. Enough years for concern. Yes, they feel entitled, sound real happy, calling everyone racist when you don't like things. Yeah, that's crazy, isn't it? I can't call nobody racist. Okay. Africa is no longer just a supplier of raw materials. Fintech companies are growing rapidly. African film industries such as Nollywood are global successes. African entrepreneurs are attracting billions. Okay. I never see their movies, but we don't gonna deny it's a racist prejudice system. Yeah, I would say there is prejudice. Like I said, I could stab somebody in the back and I would get 40 years and then somebody else do it another week from now. And then it's self-defense and they don't get no time. That's not fair. That needs to be dealt with. Like a hate bill or the change of the justice system should be figured out. It has to be, because that's not fair what's going on right now. Americans always first, black, white, Asian, Latin, whatever, as long as you're Americans. Yeah, I think so. Americans first, but I also think that it's more than just letting somebody get born into the nation. If you have another allegiance to a whole nother country, just because you were born here, I don't think you should be able to have the rights to be a leader or position of power. I think it should be designated for the people that have been here for a long time, for them to, have only allegiance to America. If you have dual allegiances, you have no business near power here in America. I don't even know how that was allowed to happen. You are delusional, Sister The Rock says. It's not really a racist prejudice system. It's the people are too stupid to know who or how they exercise their rights anymore. The dumb down the educational system to the point of idiots running around not knowing what they are, the owners of the government. It was done on purpose. All right. Have you been here, Africa? That is, I base my opinions on what I see day to day. Here, Africa has a mental health problem. Yeah, okay, you stay away from the city, so you have no clue. Illegals don't vote. Okay, they shouldn't vote. Yes, I do stay away from the cities. There's a bunch of crazy people there, definitely there. Yes, they do. Richards, that little narrative has been disproven. Okay, so you would not understand. I live in a city. Okay, illegal aliens must certainly do vote because they have stolen identities, and stolen identity is one of the major crimes in America. Oh, yeah. That is true. A lot of major theft of IDs. You're right. A lot of people work in some of these businesses that are able to look up all your personal information. And I do believe some of these people probably jot down your information on the side. That's from other countries and have like a system behind the scenes on how to, use your identity. Okay. How can you bear listening to this? Okay, my city was taken over by Guatemala. Oh, okay. Luckily, they decent people. Yes, they are not men. They are children. Since it existed before Morocco existed as a nation. Okay, we just not obedient to the white system. We do shit our way. That's all. Okay. America, Europe, Asia, and the Arabs needs to have a Berlin conference and carve Africa up and permanently colonize it with a rough hand. Oh my God. He was crazy. Because she wants to be tethered to Black Americans in our spaces. What are you talking about, white system? If you're going to be hood mentality, then just say that. But that's not a white system rule of law is. The fuck does that even mean? You sound so dumb. Law and order. Nah, you acting clueless. Rage bait grifter. Who's a rage grifter? This is why country people are armed heavily. Oh Lord. We are also orchestrated by the Zionists. We have Ericon, countries that have been yelling death to America for 50 years. Yeah, that is a real thing. There are people still in this country that really don't like us. It is scary to think that they wake up every day fixated on how they can destroy America. As soon as shit happens, all your crazy people from the cities will try to flock to the hills, and then you'll be met with heavy ordinances. We just don't need it. Okay, you guys are crazy in here right now. Oh, shoot. Trump loves America. I think he does. I'm not quite sure about the Iran war. That's another topic. It was under Spanish control, CENTA. Fairy Tale Wonderland, are you just okay? All right, I'll let you guys have that. I'm gonna get to one more video of this. I'm sorry for those that probably got ticked off about how angered I am getting talking about Ghana, but they are not precious and they're not innocent. They have been working on undermining and trying to subjugate, put us under submission of their authority, is what Ghana has been working on. And like I said, now they feel comfortable and confident to come to America demanding money. On top of that, they make you sign up to even get a ticket for you to even be able to see what they're talking about. You got to pay to even be talking to them or seeing what they're talking about. So everything about them is about what they can garner from you. Now, I want y'all to take a look of a video. I don't know if this was just done a year ago. It does say it was done a year ago. I wonder if I can even play this. I might not be able to play that, come to think of it. Some videos you can't play or they'll take your video down. This might be one of them. Wow. Let me talk about Haiti real quick. Oh, you know what? Let me show this real quick and then I'll talk about Haiti. Now, this video is about the transatlantic slave trade. And these people are saying, like this is a wonderful thing to show and everything's good. And they're using Samuel Jackson. All these actors, all these people are being used to try to influence us. I want to make sure I can show it. Hold on. I'm going to play this short right here. I think this is safe to play. This is partly why I am stunned that Ghana would have the nerve, the audacity to talk about reparations when they still are involved in the slave trade. Now, this video is a little bit older, but this type of stuff is still going on in Ghana with children. And these people can't be trusted. And these people are, like I say, they have ulterior motives of wanting to deal with us.
Welcome back to CBS Mornings. A recent report highlights the shocking growth of child labor around the world. It shows between 2016 and 2020, the number of working children rose for the first time in 2 decades to 160 million. In Africa, more than 1 in 5 children works. In the West African country of Ghana, Deborah Pata saw kids working in the fishing industry under very troubling conditions.
The beauty of Lake Volta is deceptive. These are troubled waters. Thousands of children are fishing here. Some work in the family business. Many have been sold into modern-day slavery. Godwin labored on this lake for 5 years. Orphaned at 10, he was entrusted into the care of a man who promised to send him to school.
I didn't know that I was going to fish.
And at first, he didn't know how to swim.
Inside the waters, they said the place is deep.
Very deep.
Yeah, deep. So I'm afraid to go down.
If he refused, he was beaten.
I was afraid. I was thinking, I don't know where my life will end that time. So I was there. I said, let me run away.
Eventually, he did escape, saved by Wallace, who works undercover and has rescued over 150 children for an international charity. We went out on the lake to see for ourselves. Rickety vessels filled with kids, adept at unraveling the fine mesh, and when those nets snag on submerged tree branches, they're forced to dive deep into the murky waters to untangle them. Adult work made easier by exploiting agile bodies and tiny hands. The eldest here claims the 9-year-old boy on this boat is his brother.
How come the two brothers don't speak the same language?
That's what I'm telling you, that some of the language barrier. You see?
Something wrong.
It's a red flag. Another little boy, believe it or not, called Freedom.
Freedom? Where's your mum?
He too is from far away and speaks a completely different language to the others on the boat.
Within the space of half an hour, we've already come across 4 boats in which there could be potential trafficking. Do you see this often?
Yeah, we see this often. So, but when we see that, we come back to do our underground investigation.
Wallace gathers intel from sources in Freedom's village. Weeks later, he confirms the child had been trafficked, but it was too late to rescue him. He'd been moved, a tactic slave owners used to evade. We haven't seen a single official from either the police or the Navy who is supposed to be patrolling this water. And so, children are easy prey.
Why do you think there is so much trafficking in this area?
It's due to poverty.
And poverty is all around us here. Desperate, extreme, persistent. It's not just boys who are trafficked. These sisters were snatched near their family home. Only recently rescued, their eyes tell of horrors they could not speak out loud. Warnings of trafficking abound, but they're not a deterrent, as we found out from this.
Where, oh, where is the president and the king of Ghana talking about this? They don't care about this because this is what they're into. This is their culture. They don't want it messed up. They just don't want us to think about these things. They don't want us to talk about these things. They want us to stay on stupid with festivals and with this notion that we're all the same, we're melanated, we're from Africa and all that. Claiming Africa, claiming to be African is allowing yourself to be subject to Ghana and to Africa. That's why they want you and need you to cling and claim them. And that's not what we're going to do because we don't want to be partakers in the modern day slavery. We do not want to be enslaved. We don't want to become debt slaves. That's what they have in mind for us, to become their debt slaves. All that money they owe China, IMF, World Bank, wouldn't that money come in handy? They salivate over. You think about, oh, they have 1.4 trillion spending power. How can we access that money? That's why they're not talking about Haitians. They're not talking about Haitians' money. They're not talking about Haitian being African. They're not talking about coming home to your brothers and sisters. Nothing.
Slave owner turned informant. How much did you pay for a child?
500 Ghana cedis.
That's about $80. But it's a human life. You bought a child. Is that not slavery? That's how it is, he shrugs. Over 25 years, he's bought thousands of children. What's the worst thing you ever did as a slave owner? Forcing a kid who doesn't know how to swim to dive to the bottom of the lake, he told us. They could go down and never come up. So many children have died here. But there is another dreadful truth to hear.
He was sold into slavery?
By my father, he tells us. The child slave has become the master. Godwin refuses to go that route.
I wanted to go to school so that I become someone. I didn't want to do fishing work.
He harbors no bitterness towards his abuser.
He has to be punished, but I forgive him.
How are you able to forgive him, Godwin? Such a hard time. The unearned forgiveness of a boy whose childhood was stolen on this lake. Maybe this time the cycle has been broken. For CBS Mornings, Deborah Patter, Lake Volta, Ghana.
Never shocked. Never shocked. Also, they have caste systems in Ghana and also Nigeria, but I think there was a name for what you call, okay, was this it? A wofa? A wofa. Let me see, where can I find that out? Oh, come on, give me a break. What is this?
Ìkan ni wọ́n gbọ́ lẹ́nu àwọn ìwọ̀fà kan pé iṣẹ́ kù ló kù wí ìbú ni wọ́n bá dúró gbọ́n lẹ́nu ọ̀nà. Wọ́n làwọn ò ní lo àfi bí.
Oh, let me find English. Ugh, come on now, give me.
Ìwọ̀fà mọ́fà pàṣẹ àjẹrẹ̀ dọ́fà ọlọ́fà gbẹ́sẹ̀ lé. Mọ́fà wá mú ẹgbàá àti ìwọ̀fà mẹ́fà míì láti fi bẹ ọlọ́fà kó lè bá a fún níwọ̀fà rẹ̀ padà.
English. Anyways, if you look up IWOFA, IWOFA, it is a practice of slavery. Let me look at let me see if I can get the AI. Lord. Wolf. That's not what I asked for. Slavery, slave, debt, slave. Okay, this says IWOFA is a traditional system of debt pawnship or indentured servitude practiced by the Yoruba people of West Africa, while other mischaracterized as a form of debt slavery. It was a legal binding credit system distinct from actual chattel slavery. Under the Iwofa system, a person would pledge their own labor or the labor of a relative, usually a child or dependent, to a creditor as collateral and interest for a borrowed sum of money. It says the Yoruba people maintain strict cultural and legal boundaries between the Iwofa pawn and an Iru slave. The labor provided by the pawn did not pay off the principal debt. Instead, the daily or weekly work served strictly as the interest on the loan. Voluntary agreement. The term Iwofa is derived from the Yoruba words I wo, entering into, and Efa, historically referencing a voluntary agreement to enter a reoccurring 6-day service. Retention of rights, unlike an Eru who was bought as property and stripped of citizenship. Wow. Stripped of citizenship, another name for ERU or Eru, another name for slavery or slave. They said who was bought as property and stripped of citizenship. And this is done in Yoruba. I wonder if this is the same thing that's in Ghana. Let me keep reading. And Iwofa remained a free member of the community. They retained their civil rights, could not be sold by the creditor, and usually lived in their own homes. So there's a difference between the Iwofa, which is still a servant or someone that's paying part of the debt or principal of the debt, and the Eru, which is a slave. But the part that just got me is stripping the citizenship of the slave. Time for personal use. Creditors generally only control the pawn's labor during the peak working hours of the morning, 6 a.m. to noon. The rest of the day belonged to the pawn to farm or trade their own financial benefit. Path to freedom. The arrangement ended immediately once the debtor repaid the principal loan amount. If a pawn died before repayment, the family was obligated to substitute another relative or settle the debt to clear the family name. Wow, we don't want nothing to do with this shit. This is crazy. Wow. The system functioned primarily as a localized banking mechanism to provide financial liquidity. Individuals utilize Iwofa loans to fund commercial endeavors, pay for elaborate emergency expenses like funerals, or finance agricultural expansion. It also served as a tool for apprenticeship, where young pawns could learn trades, farming techniques, or domestic skills while serving a more affluent master. During the pre-colonial era, the system was heavily regulated by traditional courts to ensure fair treatment. However, the system faced significant challenges in the late 19th century and the early 20th centuries. Exploitation over time, particularly during periods of economic hardship. Some creditors subjected pawns to harsher exploitative labor practices, causing immense psychological strain and family alienation. When the British colony government began dismantling domestic chattel slavery, Euro, in the 1890s, the reliance on Iwofa spiked significantly as landowners scrambled to secure replacement agricultural labor. Abolition, recognizing that the system bordered closely on forced labor and debt bondage. The British colonial administration heavily legislation against it, eventually suppressing the practice by 1930s. Let's see. They talking about they suppressed it. It sounds like to me they still be doing this. Is this still practiced today? Is this still practice today? They're saying it's no longer practice. I don't buy that. I do not buy that. Mm-mm. No, no. Let me see. What about Ghana? Does Ghana still practice something like this? They have modern day slavery, but they're going to stop doing that. Give me a break. It says, no, Ghana does not legally or formally practice human pawnship and traditional debt pawn systems like the Akan Awowa system, which closely mirrored the Yoruba Iwofa, were entirely outlawed during the colonial era. However, much like in Nigeria, illegal and underground mutations of human bondage still persist in Ghana due to extreme poverty, lack of enforcement, and cultural traditions. The two most notable modern parallels are detailed below. They have the most striking and controversial parallel in Ghana is the Trokosi system, also known as fire CD, practiced primarily in sections of the EWE ethnic group in the Valata region. Practice when a family member commits a crime or religious infraction, a young virgin girl is given to the tradition fetish shrine to appease the gods and avert a family curse. Wow. I still believe they still do this kind of thing. They still have the mindset for this kind of stuff. I mean, modern day slavery is still going on. They still have some level of this type of mindset. Anyways, my whole point of bringing that out to light is there's a lot of stuff we could never understand fully and in depthly about what Ghana is on. But my spirit tells me, and has been telling me since 2018, that they cannot be trusted, and everything that they're doing is trying to move in a position of power over us. And again, it's being attempted against our will. The Democrats, the Pan Africans, and the Africans and the immigrants all are in line with trying to undermine us having our own ethnicity and undermining our reparations and undermining us having our American status. I'm glad, in a way, Trump is doing as much as he's doing to expose a lot of the stuff that they don't want us to talk about. It's all in your face. Like I said, you look at Haitians and you realize that ain't nobody coming to their rescue, and this notion of Pan-Africanism and brother and sister doesn't apply to people that they don't want. They don't see themselves getting an advantage over. They don't think messing around with Haitians will give them an advantage. It will give them a burden in their mind, and they don't want nothing to do with anything resembling a burden. And they want to undermine us so that they can have leverage over us. And this needs to be talked about. Like, we got to talk to our relatives and family, friends, whatever, whoever is a Black American, to alert them about the time we're entering in this hyper interest in us is demonic, and it's not right. Um, we gotta have to fight these people off of us. In other words, that's the truth. That is the truth. I'm looking for Haitian video real quick because I'm gonna end it with Haiti. Now, I wish Haitians well. What I have suggested to them is that they make a outcry attempt to alert barbecue their intention of wanting to and needing to come back home and what they would like to do with peace and tranquility. Um, but for some strange reason, they don't want to make an effort to talk to their own people. I'm sure there are people here that's related to barbecue outright, cousin, brother, sister, something, and get the ball rolling. There's a lot of money that's going back to Haiti with 350,000 times 2,600. That's $910 million. If they all went back, they could pay that man $10 million to be cool. But everybody wants to try to like make everything about America and put their claim and stake in America because they've been comfortable for so long taking advantage of America to where people just don't want to give it up. We got a little time to like make some changes, but overall, Black Americans, we need to just make sure we are aware of how everything is affecting us. With us, um, you know, doing what we're doing is the best thing for us, literally. Where's this video? And what Haitians been doing most of the time is getting on TikTok arguing with Black Americans like a lot. It's been really awkward that they got so much time for us, but they don't have no time to make plans on those same platforms and talk about themselves and figure out what they really gonna do. It's the oddest thing ever. Please tap the screen if you could. Please hit the like button. And I'm sorry that a lot of people don't like my frankness. I have been a lot of times really looked upon as being kind of mean, but I really am not mean. I'm just very upfront because I don't like to be lied to and I don't really like lying. And I know that I don't say stuff kind of pleasant to the ear. I don't know how to do that. But let's look at this video about the Haitians. This video is maybe a day or two ago old. Let me see. Oh, 23 hours ago. Okay.
Ended after a Supreme Court ruling to end TPS for Haitians and Syrians in the U.S., many are left scrambling, not just on those whose immigration status is now in limbo, but for many who rely on their work in the healthcare field and more. Today, New York Congresswoman Yvette Clarke goes on the record on what comes next.
And I want to be equally clear. Benjamin Netanyahu is not welcome in New York City, nor is any other war criminal at large.
An international feud with New York City at the center. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu intending on visiting this September despite Mayor Zohar Mamdani's calls for his arrest. The standoff, the center of discussions of anti-Semitism here at home. Our fixed panel weighs in on this and other big topics of the week.
Overall, how would you rank the subway system?
1 to 10, I would say a 5. I wish it was more on time, more prompt, but it does get you where you need to go.
Plus, the MTA's semi-annual transit survey is out, and riders are popping off about the results. It's all coming up.
I gotta find the timestamp. Hold on. Here we go. It took forever to get started.
Politics with Dan Manarino. And welcome to Picks on Politics, everybody. I am Dan Manarino, and our big story this week, the Supreme Court's decision to rescind temporary protected status for Haitian and Syrian immigrants. Now, what does that mean? This was all granted during the Biden administration after it was originally implemented after that devastating earthquake in 2010. Remember that? Well, this puts the immigration status now of hundreds of thousands here in this country in jeopardy. So let's talk about it. The American Immigration Council estimates that as over March of 2025, around 1.3 million immigrants were covered by temporary protected status. That includes over 300,000 Haitians and over 6,000 Syrians. So the big question right now is what happens next? Where do all of these immigrants go? What is the impact left behind in their communities? I mean, we're talking about hundreds of thousands of people, right? Discuss all this information about one-on-one with Congresswoman with thousands of Haitians in her own district. We're talking about Yvette Clarke, and she is going on the record.
Now, listen to Yvette Clarke. She is a Jamaican American. I think she might be first generation Jamaican. She happens to be the head of the Congressional Black Caucus, the same caucus that Representative Nancy Mace is trying to dissolve away the CBC. And I don't like this woman because she's about immigrants and aliens over Americans, over our ethnicity of Black American. They have, from her homeland, their own caucuses. They have CARICOM. They have their nation, of course, and their resources and their relationship in the government to the President of the United States. These same people still feel the need to access the Congressional Black Caucus that was meant to be Black Americans' organization or representation as our ethnicity group. But somehow it got hijacked. And of course, we remember Sheila Lee Jackson, who was over the Congressional Caucus for like 40 years, and she just passed away like a year ago. She kept reparations on lock to only be heard or studied, but never addressed as far as reparations, because her kind wasn't supposed to get reparations because they weren't enslaved here in America. But we find these immigrant first generations in place of power. Like, why are they over an organization that represents my ethnicity as a Black American that only knows America and only cares about America? Why would she and Yvette Clarke, another Jamaican, be over the leadership, and now they're trying to force onto my community to become Pan-Africans who are globalists and Marxists, who believes in open borders and who believes that my American status is not to be counted because I'm Black like other melanated people from around the globe, and somehow we all need to be treated the same and similar. This person is in control of my representation organization, which means I have none. And now she's about to talk about the Haitians and what they're going through. But have you ever heard this same woman, Yvette Clarke, talk about a hate bill for Black Americans? Ever talk about the judicial system that's rigged, that's kind of like unfair to people that commit the same type of crime, but they get different times? Has she ever talked about homelessness or veteran issues to help them out with different organizations that could help them out specific to their problems and needs? No. This woman never talks about us other than Pan-African talk. In fact, she went to Ghana alongside with CBC, other 66 delegates, and other people like Nancy Pelosi in 2019, Elon Omar, and others went to Ghana to endorse the return of so-called going back to Africa. That's all they have time for us, to make us think about Africa and not think about our plight here in America. While at the same time, they are helping out immigrants and aliens in their plight to come here in America. How is that proper representation for us as a collective? We do not want these people in place of power, but I want y'all to hear what she has to say about the issues of the Haitians.
And Congresswoman Yvette Clarke is joining me now. So great to have you here on Picks and Politics, Congresswoman. Good to see you.
Good to see you as well, Dan. Thanks for having me.
Of course, and I want to talk about the big news right now regarding the temporary protected status, TPS as it's known, for Haitians officially coming to an end this week. This was big news because of that Supreme Court decision. Tens of thousands of people locally now impacted by this. So the question, I guess, for you is, what happens now with this already ending?
It's a betrayal, a moral betrayal. It's a humanitarian betrayal, of which we've seen very few in the history of this nation and modern history of this nation. And so there are many Haitians who are in the process of trying to adjust their status. They're really in a state of disarray, many of whom have had children who are U.S. residents. It's a real upheaval in the communities that we serve. It's a horrible week for tens of thousands of New Yorkers who are of Haitian descent.
Yeah, so speaking directly to those folks, right, those New Yorkers who are within the Haitian community, you urge them to know their legal rights. So what rights do they have moving forward if they were to, say, come into contact with somebody from ICE?
Well, at this stage, if they're not in the process of adjusting their status, there's very few pathways for them to stay in the nation. Let's put it that way, to stay in the country. And so, I think that, the families have to ask themselves questions. What we've asked people to do is make sure that, relatives, close friends, neighbors have instructions about what they would want with respect to their property, their belongings, what have you, should they be detained by ICE. These are all preparation that Haitian nationals who were protected under temporary protected status need to take immediately.
Congresswoman, the Trump administration and Homeland Security have been talking about ICE surges, specifically within New York City. They've talked about it, they've threatened it before, but it has not come to fruition. They once again now, with this ending, have said that they're going to ramp up some of these surges, right, in areas like New York. Have you had conversations with Governor Hochul or Mayor Mamdani about this and what to do about it?
Well, we're very concerned. There's no doubt about it. I have not had specific conversations with either the mayor or the governor about this, but clearly, as the executives of both the city and the state, they are making appropriate plans for the eventuality that ICE could show up here in New York City. I think that it would be so disruptive to our city, to the economy, to so many things that keep New York City safe and running, that the administration really needs to take note of that and tread very lightly in the city of New York.
I want to talk to you about TPS overall, because it was first granted to Haitians, of course, after that earthquake back in 2010, and again during the Biden administration. We're talking about 20 years, right? And I did something on this earlier on Picks on Politics Daily, which got a lot of comments about people saying, well, temporary protected status is temporary. And usually it's because somebody can't go back to their home country because of an upheaval. Do you feel like folks are ready to go back to Haiti? Is Haiti ready to receive people?
Talk about upheaval. This is a nation that has no governance structure in place right now. This is a nation that's essentially being governed through gang violence. There is no greater danger to the lives of Haitian nationals who are here under temporary protected status than being returned to an environment that has disintegrated since they first left as you rightly stated, over 20 years ago.
Yeah.
But even prior to that, there were a series of hurricanes in which a number of Haitian nationals were granted temporary protected status. So we're talking closer to 30 years for many of these individuals. The most productive years of their lives have been spent contributing to the United States of America, New York City, and across the nation, quite frankly. And for this administration to send them directly into harm's way, we currently have, paramilitary operations taking place at the behest of the United States on the ground in Haiti. Yeah. There are problems with respect to food insecurity and to personal safety. And so the conditions on the ground in Haiti are not conducive to returning thousands, hundreds of thousands of individuals back into the nation.
Yeah, keep us posted on that. I know that there's not much that Congress can do now that this was a Supreme Court decision, but it's a story that we are going to follow very closely.
Well, quite frankly, we have put forth a discharge petition, which is supported by the House of Representatives, which is waiting for the Senate to act right now. We can override what the Supreme Court has done by passing legislation
you think they will?
In the United States Congress.
You think the Senate will?
Well, the hope is that they will.
Yeah.
That's all you need to know. She wants to override what the Supreme Court said that needs to happen. They don't have to go back to Haiti. They just got to leave here. They can go to 14 different countries that speak French, to Senegal. I heard in 2010, they offered land from Senegal to Haitians, according to a couple of people that mentioned it. Where's the outcry for Pan-Africans and Africans alike to invite the Haitians to come to portions of Africa? Like I say, it does not exist. Pan-Africanism is a figment of imagination used to control and fool the natives, the indigenous American blacks of America, Black Americans, into submitting under the umbrella of Black, under Black supremacy, and being a servant for all melanated people over yourself. That's what they're on. And she's not caring about us in our organization talking this talk right here, because we need protections that are not ever talked about by her. But again, she's a Jamaican so-called leader of the Congressional Black Caucus. That's supposed to be our organization that's been taken over by these immigrants. So she talking about overriding the Supreme Court instead of them getting a hold of their destiny and doing something for their own homeland. They got to be over here. Let her tell it. Millions of others got to be over here. Let her tell it. This is why Democrats are dangerous, and you cannot expect that they will not flood the zone if you give them a chance to get back into power.
The hope is that they will. We can only continue to push on and really get them to see the significance of this moment in the lives of hundreds of thousands of Haitian nationals.
Congresswoman, while I have you, I want to talk about some other news. I want to get your take on some of the wins here locally that happened on primary night in June, with some of these DSA members winning. Some of your Democratic colleagues, like Tom Suozzi, have a letter out now. It's called Promise to America, which is looking for other Democrats to sign, more moderate Democrats, to rebuke the idea that those wins symbolize the future of the Democratic Party. Is that a letter you would sign? What are your thoughts on that?
I just don't think this is a time for division of any sort. I look forward to embracing all Democrats in the Democratic Party and winning back the House of Representatives.
So that kind of conversation, what do you say to some of your Democratic colleagues, like Tom Suozzi, Josh Gottheimer, for example, who have said the DSA should not be part of the Democrats?
Yeah, every individual is entitled to sort of their philosophy, if you will. I think that it's more important that we open, our channels of communication and build bridges as opposed to creating divisions.
And how have you, moving towards now the general election, right? And obviously the House wants to win back control, Senate, when you want Democrats to win back control. And there's a lot of talk right now about messaging within the party. And if DSAs and Democrats are aligned, or if the messaging is getting mismatched heading into a general, how do you plan to communicate or work with DSA members?
We're going to do everything we can to come together on common cause. And, I've not had conversations recently with the members elect. I don't have a good sense of, where there is divergence. I am a member of the Progressive Caucus. Yeah. And so I just imagine that a number of the concerns moving forward in the House will be addressed through that vehicle.
Okay, Congresswoman Yvette Clarke, I always appreciate you making the time for us. Good to see you.
Thank you for having me, Dan. Have a great day.
You too.
She's a straight up traitor. Our organization is being used for immigrants. So I don't care if the Congressional Black Caucus goes down. I don't care if Representative Nancy Mace dissolves away the CBC because they're not doing nothing for us to begin with. So what am I missing out on? And by the way, Theo That Truth has the link to the petition that I talked about a couple of weeks ago, I think, something like that. And it's gotten over 1,000, y'all. If y'all go to Theo That Truth, 3 week ago video, 4 minutes long, talking about Foundational Black American Petition for Protected Identity. It's just a short video outlining what the petition is about. I wrote it. It is now up to, come on now, 1,123 signatures. So shout out to everybody that has signed on. Hoping by September 1st, we'll have about 1,500. We're going to send it back to President Trump to review over. He's seen it in April, but he didn't have the signatures that hopefully we will get before September. And we can resend it back to him about the need for us to have our own ethnicity and our own organization minus immigrants and other influencers that affect the leadership that's forcing Pan-Africanism onto us and having us deal with Ghana against our consent. And I am currently writing a letter to the CBC Council about the complaints I have in reference to how they are leading us and how we do not have any consent given and will not desire anything that they're doing. So that is down for the record. I'm also doing that. So, yeah. Let me see. Is there any other video? Okay, we're gonna hear, I guess, somebody getting interviewed that's a Haitian. They're saying we do not have a country to go back to. So this is what they are saying. Again, all this outcry. Where are the Pan-Africans and the Africans at, though?
.org. I'm Amy Goodman with Norman Shea. ICE is reportedly stepping up plans to arrest and deport Haitians after an estimated 300,000 Haitians just lost their status under TPS, the Temporary Protected Status Program. The program ended on Monday after the Supreme Court last month sided with the Trump administration to end TPS programs for Haitians and Syrians. Since that ruling, panic and fear have swept through Haitian communities across the United States. According to an internal government document, the plans to round up and deport Haitian immigrants could start as early as this week. The planned deportation operations outlined in the internal government document could focus in part on the thousands of Haitians who live in Ohio, many of whom live and work in the city of Springfield.
During the 2024 presidential campaign, Vice President J.D. Vance and President Trump amplified racist, baseless claims that Haitians in Springfield were eating people's pets, their dogs and cats. In an interview with CBS News on Monday, Ohio's Republican governor, Mike DeWine, described the Trump plans to deport Haitians as a mistake.
It's not good for the United States, and it's not good for the state of Ohio. These are people who have helped Springfield really come back. Springfield has been making a real comeback. The Haitians who are living there and employed there, they came there to work, and they came there because there were jobs that were not being filled by other people. And so to lose them and have them not be able to work anymore.
I don't buy that at all. If you're paying them way lower than what they normally would get. That's not fair. These people would do those jobs if the pay matched the job. You guys are playing dumb. Why can't the Haitians take that money that they're supposed to get and all the money they've been saving up till now? They knew for now a year and a half that Trump was doing this. He said it in the campaign trail. He said it when he became president. He's been saying it since he began. So if people are still confused, I don't know how. I don't know how.
And possibly, taken out of this country is frankly a blow to Springfield, and it's a blow to the state of Ohio.
Again, that is Ohio's Republican governor, Mike DeWine. For more, we go to Springfield, Ohio, where we're joined by Vilas Dorsenville. He is the co-founder and executive director of the Haitian Support Center in Springfield and is among the over 300,000 Haitians in the U.S. who've just lost their TPS, temporary protected status. In these last minutes we have, Vilas, if you can talk about the fear people have, what are people doing, including yourself, this week, losing your TPS status?
Thank you for having me. I think that the fear is so huge in our community, especially when folks know that they won't be able to continue to live here. And now I believe that DHS has changed the strategy. Over the past few days, they started sending calling check letters to folks. And when they get to those facilities, they just put like an ankle bracelets on their feet. It is so humiliating to see parents, fathers and mothers who have not been committing any crime now with some type of ankle bracelets on their feet. And that has created so much fear. Not only those folks, they lost their jobs, they lost the privilege to drive, and now they have a bracelet on their feet on a daily basis, and they give the...
He conveniently skipped out on the fact that they had a lot of accidents with Haitians unaliving people because of their bad driving. They can't read, they don't know how to speak English and all that. There in Springfield was a real bad problem. One of my videos, I think I talked about it maybe 5-6 months ago, something like that. But like I say, at some point they have to try to fix their home. 16 years is a long time to get yourself together and save up money and strategize and plan for the inevitable of being told to go back home. They got conditioned to think that when the Democrats were in power, that there's nothing they had to worry or concern themselves with. It was just going to be indefinite. Trump disrupt everybody's plan. But again, if you're here temporarily, you should always have a backup plan. If I went somewhere, anything could happen to change my point of view about how I feel, about where I'm living. The conditions on the ground could be going on. I could be harassed. I could be stalked. Any number of things. Or I could have a problem getting a job or having a problem paying my rent. This and that and the other. And so you would have to strategize or leave if you can't cope no more. There's all kinds of reasons why things change. Things change because people get in a car accident. Things change because they get a bad medical report. Things change because they become homeless. Things change because your TPS ended. All these other things. They could go to other areas around the world, but everybody wants to be here. Everybody's acting like they are entitled to a piece of America here. They say it's racist. They say, they're being done wrong because of their skin color, but yet they don't know how to leave. Damn, they don't know how to leave. You got to learn how to leave. Everybody has different changes in my life. I was homeless for a couple of years. Okay, things changed. I got into an altercation with somebody and went to jail. Things changed. All kinds of things could happen to a person. So why can't Haitians have big draws on and accept the change of the TPS ending? And why can't Africans and Pan Africans talk to them about the different changes that they should be able to do, just like they keep throwing on us that we should be able to do? Like I say, it's creepy. Africans and Pan Africans, it's very creepy for you guys to be trying to leech onto us. However, you can get a piece of us onto you. It's like desperation. Yeah, they need the engineers, doctors, scientists, teachers to go back and help make Haiti again great again. Exactly. They could clean up the kitchen. Oh, the kitchen, Lord. They could clean up the streets with all the trash that I've seen. They could work on different buildings or different structures to organize and meet at and figure out what they're going to do around the whole entire length of Haiti. They will have more than enough people. Like, say, if they just said in 6 months, we're going to start doing what collectively we should be doing. We just got to get enough of us back. But first, they got to talk to Barbecue and get him to stand down. And then figure out to go back. And, you know, I mean, you got men that have muscles that can build. There's stuff that they should be able to know how to do. I mean, if y'all only were nurses and artists, and you did not take up construction, or you did not take up carpentry or other things to help build, I don't know what else to tell you, but y'all have more than enough opportunities with people to come back and figure it out. I don't understand why it's such a hard thing for them as melanated people to just try to do something that they never did before. I don't get it. It's weird. You said totally agree. No Democrats. Yeah, you see how she was talking? Just hello. I can speak to you about our potatoes. What's your potatoes? Okay. What's up? How are you doing, Patricia? Thank you for being here. Thank you, Jess 67. You said we are the only blacks that fight against and stand up to white supremacy while y'all beg to come here and work for cheap and learn their false history. The thing I don't like of what these melanated people are doing is they're trying to steal our history and claim our accomplishments and claim our ancestors. I mean, everybody is just, they're acting as if they're like vampires. Like, it's unreal. But listen some more to this.
1 month at time to go back to. So it's really humiliating to see that happening to our people in our community right now.
So, Vilas Dorsanville, if you could talk about, the conditions prevailing now in Haiti, why so many Haitians have fled the country, and what it would mean for them to be the ones here to be deported back to Haiti.
Basically, I always tell people that it's not a question of us not willing to go back to our country. So now if I can describe for you a little bit the condition of our country, we have an international airport that has not been in operations for over the past 2 years because when American aircraft landed at that particular airport, the gang members shot at them. We have more than 1.3 million people have been displaced, and 5 million people are in acute food insecurity. So there are women and girls live in shelters on a daily basis, people who are being raped, exposed to rape. So this is the condition. We have a government that just cannot deliver political goods, and actually the gang members, they become stronger and stronger on a daily basis. This is the condition of Haiti, and there is no job opportunity. There is no Haitian dream for those folks, and these are the push factors.
Well, it sounds like you should count out Haiti. If it's really like that, what other places there left? Africa. You shouldn't want to be somewhere where you're not wanted. It's not your home country. It was temporarily. You cannot just make up stuff to just keep this case open. Like I said, Africa is a big continent. Everybody keeps telling us that. They got so much peace and land and opportunities. Why can't Haitians talk about that? Why is nobody even insinuating that? It's crazy. He said Trump did war crime by bombing the boats on Venezuela. You think so? Mm, mm. I mean, there are other countries around the world. That's all I know. They're gonna have to start talking with a little bit more bass in their voice. My God, he's talking all meek and humble. It's ridiculous.
That caused them to leave the country. So I think that the Haitians here, they are willing to go back, but at the end of the day, they do not have a country to go back to.
I mean, the U.S. government understands full well how dangerous it is to go back to Haiti. They have warned Americans not to go to Haiti. In this last few seconds we have, Vilas, you have lost your TPS status. What are you doing?
It's like a catch-22 for me because me as well, I'm a TPS holder. So I'm just laying low and sit and observe what will happen to our community next.
Vilas D'Orsonville, we thank you so much.
So in other words, he has no intention of leaving. He's not going to strategize and think of another plan. He's not going to have a meeting behind the scenes on the Zoom call with his own people and talk about, hey, let's look into getting a hold of Africa. Let's talk online about our need to go somewhere in Africa and see what strikes, what happens. They ain't trying. He says he's going to go through whatever he has to go through, whatever rough up he's going to have to take, whatever hemming up, putting himself in harm's way or going to jail or whatever. I'm going to go through all those changes so the world can see me fight for my rights to stay in a country that does not belong to me. Wow. It's crazy.
For speaking up and out on Democracy Now!, co-founder and executive director of the Haitian Support Center in Springfield, Ohio. That does it for our show.
I'm letting y'all know, we ain't coming outside. No matter what y'all do, causing a scene, looking all crazy, I ain't going. Here's what they have to say about the Haitians. Take a listen to this. They're not mincing words at all. Come on.
Customs Enforcement has made plans to ramp up operations to arrest and deport Haitian migrants as hundreds of thousands of Haitians brace for the termination of their legal status, according to 2 agency sources and federal documents obtained by CBS News. The plans include arresting migrants in Ohio, where large Haitian communities in cities like Springfield have been targeted by President Trump and conservative politicians and commentators, and quickly putting them on deportation flights to crisis-stricken Haiti, the internal documents indicate. During the 2024 presidential campaign, Trump claims that Haitians in Springfield were eating cats and dogs.
In Springfield, Ohio, 20,000 illegal Haitian migrants have descended upon a town of 58,000 people, destroying their way of life. They've destroyed lives. And people don't like to talk about it because even the town doesn't like to talk about it because it sounds so bad for the town. They live there. They're proud. They love the town. For years, it was a great place, safe, nice. Now they have 20,000, and I actually heard today it's 32,000, the new number. Illegal aliens are now coming in from all over the world, from prisons, jails, mental institutions. They're coming in at levels that we've never seen before. We cannot let this happen to our country.
The internal plans for a potential arrest and deportation blitz have been made as more than 300,000 Haitians prepare to lose deportation protections and work permits under the Temporary Protected Status, or TPS, program. The Supreme Court last month sided with the Trump administration in its efforts to end the TPS programs for Haitians and Syrians. That ruling's binding mandate is set to be issued to lower courts. Since that ruling, fear and uncertainty have swept throughout Haitian communities across the U.S. Immigrants whose TPS lapses immediately lose their ability to work in the country legally and become eligible to be arrested and processed for deportation by ICE unless they have another status. Those without removal orders are generally entitled to appear before an immigration judge before any deportation can take place. The operations targeting Haitian migrants could start as early as this week, the documents suggest, but more details about the scale of the plans were not immediately clear. The ICE sources who described the preparations requested anonymity to describe internal plans that have not been publicly disclosed and are fluid. Any uptick in deportations to Haiti would almost certainly raise political and humanitarian challenges, given the dire situation.
Just letting y'all know, in case y'all forget, Trump has other options in other countries. He's made other deals, like with the president of Ghana and other places in Africa, that you can be deported to. I think some Hispanics from Venezuela or something like that ended up going to places in Africa. If that's what y'all want to have happen, that you guys are just broken up and shipped off to different places that you don't know nothing about, I don't think that that is the smart thing to do. I would not want somebody making up my life like that, like a lottery type of thing. I would choose where I was going and have so many people go to one area and all that. That's the only way I see that could work. But it's just funny how nobody is talking about going to Africa. Like, it's so wonderful for us, but not for nobody else. It's crazy. Shit is outrageous. I've never heard nothing like this before. But anyways, you guys are hypocrites. Pan-Africans are the biggest hypocrites ever. Stop talking to us about what we need to be doing for Africa, because we ain't doing shit. We don't want the job. We don't want the obligation. We don't have to, and we're not. We're not bound down to no king of Ghana. It's not our king, it's y'all king. Y'all need to go serve that guy, whatever. Keep in mind, the desperation of some of these people is like really crazy. This guy right here said something really outrageous. The guy that was a Sudanese migrant. Again, in Africa, this is how they feel about leaving Africa.
Than to go back step. I prefer to die here than to go back step. I was in Morocco for 1 year and a half. I didn't try only for one time, but my friends, they tried maybe 30, 40 times. Yeah, and it costs time, by the way. Each time chance you are trying, it costs you about 100 or 150 euro. And it's very difficult to collect in Morocco. So that is why I forgot that idea. But one day when I was watching the media, I saw that people, they are coming by thousands to border. So I say, oh, let's try. It's better than to do, and you know your results, than never you try. I am not a Moroccan. If they should return me, they should return me to my country. And this is
See, he'd rather die than fight for his life. It's crazy. I'll be watching what's going on with Haitians. They still feel like they have a chance to stop what the Supreme Court has done by trying to switch up on it and with another Congress act or something like that. That's what Yvette Clarke had said. ICE agents are the best justified crusades says. And look at how we're doing. How are you doing, Joe Mack? You are in Puerto Rico? African can be only sorted by. Yeah, I know. Sudan is very difficult, but there are other countries you could go to. Well, I'm talking about more or less Haitians because they got some numbers like 350,000. What if 50,000 went to Senegal? 50,000 went to uh, Ivory Coast and so forth. Like spread it out. They got to get real. They're going. I think they're willing to call scenes and stuff on TV and on the news and acting a fool and all that. Well, I ain't gonna be moved if y'all go that way. I am not gonna be moved at all. Oh, here's what I wanted to show. Oh, sorry, I forgot what I was doing. Hold on.
Country that either take you,
Security, which oversees ICE, said it does not discuss ongoing or future operations. It argued TPS has been used as a de facto amnesty program and suggested that those set to lose their status should self-deport. What we would say now is it's closing time, which means you don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. The good news is it's not too late to get a $2,600 check and a free flight home, DHS added in its statement. Earlier, DHS Secretary Markwayne Mullen defended the Trump administration's decision to end temporary protected status for many Haitian migrants, saying Haitians affected by the termination of TPS have no other option and will have to go back.
Victory on TPS. Are you going to be going after Haitians living in the country, Syrians living in the country? What's the path forward?
Well, I hate when it's phrased going after individuals. The fact is, TPS for certain individuals under the court ruling, they no longer have status. TPS was temporary. It was never meant to be permanent status. You had an opportunity while you were here to possibly try to change your status. Now that the court ruling has went out, you no longer have that option. You have to go back to a country that either take you or back to the country you came from. And if you deport yourself, which we will give you $2,600 plus a plane ticket to go home, you had the opportunity at that point to fill out it legally for a visa or another way to come back in this country. But you have to come in through our immigration systems and follow our laws, not illegally. But if we have to arrest you and deport you, that option of coming back in this country is off the table. So we would encourage everybody that fell underneath TPS, that is no longer temporary protected status for you. Your time has expired. Go to our website, sign up for self-deportation. We'll help you get to the country that you came from, or get you to a country that are willing to accept you. Fill out the paperwork, and maybe you can come back and participate in the American dream.
That's his big cause. He's got a lot of Haitians who live in the Hudson Valley. Have you spoken to him about this? And it's big for the healthcare community here in New York too.
Mike and I have spoken almost daily. In fact, I've already talked to him today about this. He's trying to figure out the path forward. As I told him, he needs to encourage all the Haitians that are still underneath TPS status, or was underneath TPS status, to self-deport so they can have the opportunity to come back. So we're trying to work out, possibly even attach somebody with his office to help process the self-deportation. And then once they get back into the country they're going to, either host country or the country that they originated from, to fill out that paperwork and streamline it. We have, listen, I didn't pass the laws, at least not now. I'm in a position to simply enforce the laws. And so my job is not to pick and choose which law we're going to enforce. We're going to enforce the nation's laws that's on the books. So when you say zero tolerance, yes, we have zero tolerance because it's the law. Yes, ma'am.
As you know, in the past year, there's been several security incidents involving top officials. Looking ahead to America 250, what do you consider to be the greatest security threat, and are you confident that the country is prepared to meet it?
We are confident through DHS because it's our responsibility that we're going to meet the needs, and we're going to have a very secure, through World Cup or through the Freedom 250 celebration. We're out there every single day. We deployed all of our assets. We're working great. Even in sanctuary cities, we have good cooperation right now with those individuals, making sure that our guests get to see what America is all about and really highlight the past 250 years and where we're going to be going over the next 250 years. So we feel very confident in position. However,
we still deal with the unknowns. Since President Trump has come into office, we have arrested over 1,900 known terrorists that came in underneath the Biden administration. These aren't people that are on terrorist watch list. These were 1,900 individuals that were already known terrorists that came in underneath the Biden administration. We know they don't have America's best interests in mind. So those individuals that we constantly fight every single day and go after with our partners at the FBI and DOJ and DHS working hand in hand, trying to go after the worst of the worst to make sure that America can be safe. The unknown one, the one that we're not tracking, they do worry us at some point. But if you talk to anybody that's in law enforcement, that's always a concern of ours. But we are doing everything possible, from counter-U.S. measures to great cooperation with local, state, and federal assets, making sure that we're funded and we have the tools and the resources needed. We've been working on this for quite some time because this is President Trump's vision when he was in office his first term. And now to see that he's in office now, to be able to see it go through, he's the one that set the groundwork in this back in 2018, 2019. And we have been continuing following and building the groundwork he laid out back then. We're building upon, and I think we're in very good shape.
Last question.
Yes, sir.
A candidate for Congress here in New York, Daria Liza Avila Chevalier, has said that she's not okay with any deportation.
Right.
Some other people who won primaries recently for higher office share similar views. Are you concerned about this latest crop of democratic socialists affecting your work?
I would say we went past socialists and now moved into communist. I'm for law and order. Full stop. If you're not, we have nothing in common. Who doesn't want our kids to be able to walk on our streets safe? Who doesn't want to hear kids playing outside again? What parent? I'm a father of 6, and I have a grandchild coming in August. Who doesn't want their kids or their grandkids to be raised in a safe area? And you should feel safe, even if you're in New York or in Oklahoma, whatever state you come from. And so when you have a aspiring politician that wants to go to Congress and says that they don't want to enforce our nation's laws, especially when it comes to immigration and understanding the amount of people we're getting out of this country that are gangbangers, complete thugs, murderers and rapists. They're poisoning our streets. We've had more deaths per year because of fentanyl poisoning than we had in the entire time we were in Vietnam. And they're saying they don't want to get those individuals out of this country. I'm sorry, you absolutely have no place to be serving in Congress. When I first got there 13 years ago, I would never have thought we're in the position we're in today. I mean, unfortunately, the Democrat Party is not the Democrat Party of JFK anymore. It's the Democrat Party of Bernie Sanders, who openly claims to be a socialist communist. That's not the foundation of this country. We can disagree on policy. We will not have an argument when it comes to the foundation of this country. We won't let that happen. We won't let them tear it apart. And that's where this party is going right now. All right. Thank you, guys.
He broke it down. You have to have law and order. If we didn't get on top of this immigration issue as quick as Trump did, my goodness, we would have been buried. It would have been a sad affair over here in America. A lot of people would have been high-fiving and laughing and just giggling all over the place and enjoying all the stealing and the frauding that they were doing. And nobody was going to be able to stop them or point out that they even did anything wrong. My God. He showed up and let us see the truth through Trump. Through Trump. Sometimes God would use the least of us to show us what we need to know and understand. And it had to come through Trump. But like I said, Ghana, where are y'all at talking about Haitians coming to Ghana? Where are Senegal, Ivory Coast, or all these other countries that are not going through the types of things that Haitians are going through? standing up and saying anything to them about how we will be a benefit to y'all. The reason being because Africans don't want to be a benefit. They want to take. That's why they want a relationship so desperately with us, because they have in mind a long game to play. First they entice you, then they invite you, then they make you feel like you're somebody and special and thought upon, listening to drums and eating the food and laughing and smiling at one another, going to look at the dungeons and talk about slavery. Oh, the good old days of slavery. Oh, your ancestors, they went through this dungeon here. And we had them walk around this tree of forgetfulness. And they can look at the statues of people buried in the dirt there also in Ghana. Oh, it's such joyous times to share in the festivities of all the thoughts about slave trade. Oh my God, what have I been missing? It's such a wonderful time. After they get you with all that mind fuckery, then they invite you to buy land, or they invite you to be partakers of the Pan-African organization. And they're asking for all your information, your name and where you're born, your address, where you work, where were your parents born, your grandparents. They want every tidbit of you. So much so that they are trying to get ownership over you, like literally. It's crazy what they are doing. Did y'all know that there was a representative, what was her name? She was busted for defrauding grants and loans. I can't remember. Oh, Amos, Representative Amos. What was her first name? She was busted giving her husband and daughter money from grants that she was over. Carol Amos. This same Carol Amos, a representative, what do you call it, a Democrat, she also was in cahoots with a doctor who was taking people's DNA for so-called test of ancestry. And she was linking, their connect was linking them to actual physical people there in Ghana. This same person, let me show y'all. So it just gets deeper and deeper with the frauds, with the games, and with the propaganda attached to these people that are all in our ear about Ghana, about Africa, about Pan-Africanism, about your ancestors, and you are linked to these people.
Illinois State Representative Carol Ammons has been temporarily removed from the Illinois House Democratic Caucus following a federal indictment for wire fraud and other charges. Investigators say she converted campaign contributions and donations for personal use. She's also accused of helping local organizations receive state grants that would benefit her and her daughter.
She's presumed innocent until proven guilty. She has every right to due process, but these are some very serious allegations. Let's not be mistaken by that. These are very serious allegations.
This is not the first time that the Ammons family has been in the news. Certainly has been several issues in Champaign County under her husband's election, but yet they keep getting elected.
The indictment states Representative Ammons also made a false statement to the FBI in 2024. She told the Fed she had no knowledge of a conflict of interest with a local nonprofit paying her daughter from a state grant.
Very dishonest people.
America's doors are...
They stay lying and conniving. And this same person went and had her DNA done and submitted herself unto Ghana, claiming that these are her people and how we needed rather, to be involved with Ghana. Like, these people are up to no good. testing. Let me just read off a little piece. This is just for the people that didn't hear or haven't heard. DNA testing, Chicago. In Chicago, they lured about 1,000 people to take these tests for free so that they could get results that's going back to Ghana. Like, how many ways can people just make up shit? It's just unfreaking real. All right, it says that the state representative, the same woman that was accused allegedly of the defrauding of the monies and grants to her husband and daughter, this same one talked about back in 2024 of February that she wanted the descendants of slaves in Illinois to have access to free DNA testing. She proposed a House resolution urging support for the Family Roots Genealogy Program pilot, which aims to reconnect so-called African Americans to their ancestral roots. The program is a partnership with the Department of Anthropology of University of Illinois at Urbana Campaign and Carl Woos Institute for Genomic Biology. They said that they noticed the need for this program when she and her husband were doing their own DNA testing and found that the process cost hundreds of dollars for commercial vendors. She said it took paying more than $700 for her husband to get substantial information about his ancestry, which revealed that he had a long lost sister and nephew. We felt and believe that it's inappropriate for the descendants of those who were enslaved in Americas or anywhere else in the world to have to pay a commercial vendor to find out where they came from. But why is it only African American is sized up and told to take these tests? No Haitian, no mention of Jamaicans, no mention of anybody else but us. Like I say, these people are all up in our business trying to get ownership over us genetically through any means necessary. And they all are in on this. So I just wanted to bring that up. This woman is involved with the DNA fake testing of connection to Africans or Ghanaians. So it just goes to show you how desperate these people are to try to get us bounded to them, and how we should be inspired to not. We should be inspired to alert our family about these demonic individuals that have this agenda against us. Again, I'm not interested in anything they're offering. I'm not buying anything that they're selling. If they really were about that life and being Pan-Africans and caring about so-called melanated people, they would start with Haitians. Until they do that, you should really understand what they're really on. So with that being said, I'm going to go now. Thank y'all for listening. Please like and share the video. Let me see if I can read a couple of more. Just giving you the view from Africa. Oh, I don't know what he said. It's not just the U.S. issue. Similar debates are happening in all other Western countries. Talking about Iran. Okay. Yeah, it's pretty sure going to be hitting UK. Lazy Anchor said American taxpayers have spent almost $22 billion warehousing undocumented immigrants. Wow. People won't be able to see the comeback. People in the West are fed up with the numbers of migrants. People have to think about another way to make it. Yeah, they're going to have to. So thank y'all for being here. I really appreciate it. Please like and share the video. I hope that you learned something from it. This was not about being a xenophobic. This was not about being hateful. I'm not none of those things, but I'm realistic. And I am American first. I've always been that way. I don't know no other way to be. I don't have no other allegiance to no other country or no other so-called skin color. No, we're not doing that. This is about Americans surviving in America and getting our country back from the depths of where it was going, which was hell. Please like and share the video, and bless up.